Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another day of 30 NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Diablo 4. There's a video out there going into more of a detail of what's happening in Season 1, so we're going to watch that. I have yet to see it. It was submitted by Water Bear. We're going to watch it this morning. We're going to talk about Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3, it said it could take 18 playthroughs to see everything in a single character. Plus, there's 173 hours of cutscenes in there. It's a gigantic game, and that's coming out in just a few weeks' time over on PC, and about a month and a half before it comes out on PlayStation 5, and I believe later for Xbox Series X and S. We're also going to be talking about a 6-year-old game is back near the top of the Xbox sales charts because the game is going bye-bye at the end of the year, and that'll be Friday the 13th game. And then if we have time, which we probably will, we'll talk about Marvel is falling way behind on the Fantastic Four film, and we'll talk about that from an article from Game Rant. If you like this type of content that we do here, we're here Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to about noon Eastern time. If you like it, hit that like button down below. It helps us out. We are a very small channel. You could also hit that subscribe button. Subscribe button is free for everyone as well. And if you'd like to go above and beyond that, you can become a member as little as $5. There's also, if you last night, YouTube Lurker gifted some memberships, and I don't know how long they last for. I don't know if they could go bye-bye off of that stream, if they stay in a pool. So if you want to get a gifted membership, make sure you opt in for the gifted membership to take one of those. If anyone does do a gifted throughout the show. Let me go to chat here real fast. Travis says, "Whoop, Baldur's Gate 3, a game that, in my opinion, could be one of the best RPGs to come out this year." It might be some of the best RPGs, not just this year, Travis. It might be one of the best RPGs ever. We'll see. I mean, obviously, it's not out yet. Kylo says, "I haven't looked too much into Baldur's Gate 3, a turn-based RPG." Yeah, it's not turn-based, it's just a straight-up RPG. Rich story. It's Baldur's Gate's great. I don't know if you've ever played any Baldur's Gate games, Kylo. What's going on, Zero? What's going on, Dustin? Roic, good morning. Good morning. Yeah, Baldur's Gate is a great series. Sarge loves Baldur's Gate, and I think he's more excited for Baldur's Gate 3 than any game that's come out. Possible of all time. I just didn't want to overextend. No, I don't want to overextend either, but Baldur's Gate is always been a really good game. I'm interested in it, but as a content creator and because I play and do so many things, to do a game like that, I mean, yeah, we put 160 hours into Diablo, but that's completely different than putting 173 hours into Baldur's Gate. It's such a rich game. If I do get it, I might get it later down the road when there's like a lull, because I don't know if I want to jump into Baldur's Gate with like a month between that and Starfield coming out. You know what I mean? I think there'd be more hype for me as a content creator for Starfield than there would be for Baldur's Gate. Interest anyway. Yeah, it's a great series. What's going on, 76? Wait a second. But Baldur's Gate 3 Baldur's Gate 3 is good, and Diablo 4. No, it's not about, yeah, I know you're joking, but it's not about, it's about the hype and whatnot. Like Baldur's Gate, for instance, it's a very niche, it's a very niche community. A lot of people find Baldur's Gate like boring and whatnot. But people that like RPGs love Baldur's Gate, and now that Baldur's Gate 3 is coming out, it's going to be huge for that fan base, right? I just don't know if the fan base that watches me or me putting the time into that, because once I dig into it, I'm in. You know what I mean? Where if a game like Battlefield or even BattleBit, where we can like turn it on and then the next day we're done. You know what I mean? Type of thing. Do I get a cookie when I'm right and Baldur's Gate 3 is better than Midfield, than Starfield? But in what way, though? You love comparing these RPGs. One's a fantasy based and one's a sci-fi based. So they both can be good in their own in their own separate categories, right? Starfield could be a fantastic RPG sci-fi, and Baldur's Gate could be a great fantasy RPG. I mean, they don't go head to head except for being a video game and people actually buy it. What's going on, Super Dave? Give me 1 second. My dog is going crazy outside. Give me 1 second. All right, sorry about that. In a Starfield, it's going to be a bare bones at launch, having only 3 planets. No, that's false. That's false. What's going on, Jesse Mac? Exo Primal releases on Xbox Pass on the 14th, 3 days away. I hope not only am I the only one excited to kill some dinosaurs? We are going to, because it comes out the 14th, which is what? Is that Friday? Is that Friday? Yeah, it's Friday. Maybe I'll do a weekend stream. Maybe we'll do a night stream, either Friday or Saturday, and test it out. If not, I'll play it off stream and kind of upload it. Maybe that's what I'll do. We'll either upload it, because I'm gone the week of the 18th to the 25th. So maybe I'll play some games with Exo Primal, and then we'll upload the content to make some content while I'm gone. Maybe that's what we'll do. I don't know, man. Todd said that 1,000 planets and knowing how he loves to over-exaggerate, it might be... well, I think there's going to be at least 3 to 5, like, custom, like, very custom-made. And then he said 10%. So there's 100 planets that are going to have some sort of life and whatever else on there. And then there's 900 planets that are going to be for you to explore and to do whatever. I mean, I'm not going to look... Travis, at Starfield as the 1,000 planets, and if there's 900 planets vacant, then it's a shit game. I'm playing it for story. So I'm going to look at Starfield as far as, is the story good? Is the gameplay good? Like, I'm going to look at the story element of it. Going around and aimlessly wandering around a planet, that's not what I'm looking for. Can I make content on that? Probably. But just playing the game for what it is, the story, just like I played Diablo, just like I played Division, just like I played Destiny, just like I played Star Wars Jedi Survivor, it's all about the story for me. So I honestly don't care if 999 planets are dead. If the content that's given and it's good, and if it's 8 hours, 10 hours, 20 hours, 25 hours, 50 hours, whatever it is, that's what I'm in for. So you're not gonna. So wait. So you're not gonna look at it for what you were promised. I was promised a sci-fi space RPG. That's what they're giving you. I wasn't going. I'm gonna explore 1,000 planets. I've already done that with No Man's Sky, and I know there's nothing there. And if there is something there, cool. But I'm playing it for the story. I'm not playing Starfield to explore 1,000 planets. But if people want to do that, it's there for them to do. Nope, he didn't promise 1,000 highly explorable planets. Never said those words. He never said 1,000 explorable planets, highly explorable planets. He said that there's 1,000 planets in the game, and then the last developer thing, he said there's 10% that have life on it. If we don't get daily captain's log, I'm going to be very disappointed. What's going on, Dubstick? You got to put them in shorts. I think they'll attract new viewers. Hopefully, we'll see what we can make once it comes out. Developers need to learn to quit shooting their mouths off. But he didn't shoot his mouth off. You got to remember, Travis, Starfield is a game for people that are Bethesda fans. Just like Final Fantasy is for people that are Final Fantasy fans. Right? So people that are interested in Bethesda games are going to get Bethesda games. People that don't love Bethesda games are not going to get Bethesda games. So they're making a game for people that literally just want to explore and have a good old time. Do you know what I mean? I think you're looking at it. I think you're already going in looking at it in the wrong perspective. But then again, you're not going to play it. So I don't even know why I'm engaging with this conversation, because you're not going to play it. So I get that, but there's only 7 explorable planets, and I'll say 13. Then they've lied, but they didn't say that. See, you're putting words in their mouth that they haven't said. Not true. Might play it on PC. You said you would never play a Microsoft game. I mean, you said you wouldn't play a Microsoft game. 30. I want to see how the other half of life is 1,000 of planets. I'm gonna find a vast wooden planet, so my werebear can shift in the woods. You're gonna merge. You're gonna merge. That was me. No, boss. No, that wasn't you. I have it on record that Travis said he would never play a Microsoft game. No, he said he would never play a Microsoft game. Bethesda's owned by Microsoft. I said I would never own a Microsoft system. Said might play it. No, that's not what you said. That's not what you said. You said you would never play anything from Microsoft is what you said. It might have been one of the days you were sick, or maybe you didn't hear well, or maybe you didn't. Maybe when you typed it, you said it before, you thought it through, but you literally said it. That is what I said. That is what I said. Proof or it didn't happen. Go check one of the live streams. I'm pretty sure. See, I don't care, because I already have in knowing that you said what you said. And if you play it, hey, congratulations. It just knows that you are full of crap every time you say something. People can't expect to remember what they said every single time they were being hyperbolic to try to make a point. That's true, Chapter 8. That's true. It's a good thing, though, that we have streams and they're live every single day, Monday through Thursday, from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. And you can go back and watch all those and have the proof. That's part of Travis's charm. All right, we're gonna watch this video. It's 14 minutes. Make sure it's on regular playback. This is Diablo 4, huge news. This is from Rage Gaming Videos. Good morning, YouTube lurker. Dapstick says, I remember saying BattleBit was balls, and now I'm like rank 20. Well, there you go. See? Oh, lurker. Heads up. I don't know what happened, because when you did those 50 memberships last night, which... fantastic, and I really appreciate you. Nothing updated. Like, they show the memberships on my side, but they don't show anything else as far as stats or anything. So I don't know if it's an error on YouTube's side, but, like, it doesn't show anything. It doesn't show that they gained, but in my members log, it shows, but it doesn't change the number that it was before that. And there was no drop off. So it's very strange. Just make sure that if you get your money back or not. The other part of my charm comes from being a good cook. Well, that doesn't do anything for us here on the stream. I've tried BattleBit. I'm stuck on playing because of the graphics. You can't play it because of the graphics? You forget about the graphics real fast. The gunplay and stuff, it's addictive. What's going on, Water? Hopefully then it's a YouTube side thing. Okay. Yeah, Lurker's very, very generous. And I'm not sure how that works. So Lurker, did you get it went through on your side? Did it refund you for the ones that didn't get taken? That's what I want to know. Otherwise, they're still in a pool somewhere, right? And that way, that if someone comes in like Monster, if he's eligible, then he could take it today. But I don't know how that works. They don't tell us on the YouTube side. Sounds like your loss. I make great Italian food. Well, I don't know, Travis. I'm taking a shot at you. If you say your cooking is as good as what you talk about video games, I'm not impressed. But I kid. Good Italian food also comes from my mother, my grandmother, my cousin, my brother, my wife. They all make great Italian food, so I'm not missing out. Grew up in an Italian family. Had plenty of Italian food. It does not refund any. There's a pool in the background. As others opt in, they will be assigned. Just wanted to support my nightly Let's Play. I appreciate it, Lurker. Yeah, so if anyone's out there, make sure you're eligible. Opt in. Opt in. So if you're not a member of the stream, you want to be a member of the stream, you can opt in. I don't know how it happens because I can't be gifted on anything because I'm a branded account. So apparently, if like you click somewhere, it says like opt in, and then what's it called? You can become a member on this channel and any other channel that someone gifted a membership on. All right, so let's watch. Let's watch this Diablo video.
Gentlemen and Haradrim of all ages, the Diablo 4 team has released a massive 6-minute trailer today out of nowhere, surprising everyone. They sent out a 30-second clip of it on social media, and as I was watching that clip, I spotted a few things, a few new things, a few really important things that I didn't even actually mention out loud. So I went to find out that there was a trailer itself, a full-on 6-minute clip, and, well, let's just say they have revealed a ton of actual new important information about Season 1. Yes, they talked about some mechanics, but this isn't about what they talked about with the words, it's about what they haven't talked about, but what they chose to show as visuals within the trailer itself. The first thing of major note is that we were simply given incorrect information beforehand about the amount of new legendaries that will be in the season. There are actually going to be a lot of them, and I love that. A lot of new legendaries, a lot more than we thought. And so with that to look forward to, let's stop here.
And he's not, we're at regular speed. We're at playback speed normal, so it's not sped up in any way, shape, or form.
Break down this trailer from start to end in as much detail as possible. Right from the beginning, we see some super quick gameplay clips, and an important thing to remember is that this gameplay wasn't just chosen arbitrarily. It's not just whatever the devs were using. Even if it looks similar to what we already have in the current state of the game, they chose these specific clips of these abilities for a reason. This is a trailer, essentially, and it could very well imply certain abilities or playstyles that are going to get buffed. It may not necessarily turn out that way, but it seems more likely to me than not. We can see Upheaval on Barbarian, which is currently a weaker playstyle but a really exciting one. We see the Shadow version of Bloodwave on Necromancer, which is generally considered quite weak. We see the Bouncing Fireball unique staff for Sorcerer, which is quite sadly weak as well. And to me, all of those being included in that initial montage is saying, hey, these are some of the things that we want.
The animations in this game are really good. I do like them.
Want you to pay more attention to do, because they might be about to get some cool changes, right? After that, we see the new boss being added within the season. We were told about this boss before, we knew that it existed. In theory, they are mostly tied to Malignant Tunnels, the new dungeon-like mechanic in the season, but given the room that they are in here, I would assume this specific encounter is actually possibly a part of the seasonal questline itself, sort of like a story encounter for this one boss. Then we see a short clip of the open world itself, which now has these weird yellow egg sac and tendril-like things, meaning that they have straight up changed the entire aesthetic of the open world of the whole map to match the season of the Malignant, which even as a base concept, just the way that sounds, is actually really cool.
I mean, yeah, it's cool, but it's just a separate instance. It's not like this is the first game ever to add stuff to a map Do you know what I mean?
Entire world will feel like it's been engulfed by this crazy plague. You can see that it lights up when an attack hits the egg as well, which implies that it takes damage, meaning it is an entity in itself in some way. We'll get into this a bit later, but my assumption is either that these are actually buffing the things around it, or that killing these egg sacs in the open world might even give you a brand new crafting material. Then we see a picture of a rogue on character select. In the top right hand corner,
Chapter 8 says, this must be a man thing. All girls about ages 10 to 15 talk like this, so we're fluent. But I remember my dad never being able to understand me. That's great.
You can see it say that the season ends on October 9th. They split back this real quick, but I think it's important to note that that's actually up there. It could just be a placeholder, but based on the timelines that we've been told, each season will be around 12 weeks. October 9th would place the season as being 11 weeks and 3 days, which is pretty much right on the money, actually. Doing some basic math, they said expect 12-week seasons to expect 4 seasons per year. That would be 48 weeks. There are 52 weeks in a year, so in all likelihood,
season ends on October 9th. Okay.
there will be exactly 1 week between the end of one season and the start of the next. In other words, the fun part of knowing when season 1 ends is that we can pretty accurately predict that season 2 is planned to start on October 9th.
Here's my thing, and I've said this for weeks. I've said this before when they even announced seasons before the game came out. It makes no sense to me, right? And I won't hound on it, but the Eternal Realm that we've experienced right now for the first 6 weeks, right? Before the season started, that's the only time you're either dedicated for seasons or you're dedicated to the Eternal Realm. But if you want to play seasons, you're never going to play the Eternal Realm, even when seasons go, because season 1 ends, just like you said, 48 weeks for the year. Okay, for seasons, there's 52 in a year. Like, when are you going to have time, right? You have 3 weeks. You have 3 weeks to play the Eternal Realm if you're constantly playing in the seasons, right?
19th, likely after a big balance patch that will hit on the 17th. So mark that one down in your calendar just for a month from now to see if this logic will actually be correct for the future, because if it is, that means that we can use this to predict pretty much every season for Diablo 4 ever. After that, we see a character creation screen with a necromancer. Nothing too new here, but this is what the UI will look like on this screen in Season 1. A new form of Lilith's corruption spreads across Sanctuary.
New season form Lilith's corruption spreads across the Sanctuary, and you must stop it. This unlocks after the campaign completion.
And interacting with this requires campaign completion. Again, we already knew that, but seeing the UI element is sort of nice anyways. After that, we see the Battle Pass. We've seen this a few times, so it's nothing new to us at all. It's only the first few levels of it. Then we get another action shot of that new boss that we talked about, but in a different location, which all but confirms this boss will reappear in multiple encounters. It's not just part of the seasonal questline itself. It will be a part of the game and of the season in multiple places. The boss itself looks pretty sick. I'm actually excited to see this one properly.
I hope this boss is harder than all the other bosses in the game. I mean, besides Lilith, all the bosses were pretty eh.
Myself in the game. After that, we see more of the yellow goopy egg things in the open world. These ones seem...
Yeah, that's a weird requirement, boss, right? You don't have to, like, okay, so you do have to beat the campaign to do the season. So, but if you start during the season, you can do the campaign in the season realm, not the Eternal Realm. And then once you complete the season in the season realm, the campaign in the season realm, then you can do the seasons, right? But it is weird that you have to do the campaign before you go. I wonder if that is a design thing to make people complete the game because they worked on the game and they want people to complete the game before. Can you imagine if Call of Duty decided that you couldn't play PvP until you completed the campaign in the solo? Like 80% of the people don't even ever touch the single player game, right? I'm just throwing that generic number out there, but more people play Call of Duty that don't ever touch the campaign than play the campaign and then go to PvP.
Seem to be just a bit more decorative. They don't actually seem like they'd be an enemy type of any kind. Then we have a big place worth talking about. This is Cormund. He is confirmed as the new NPC that we were told about, being central to the seasonal questline. He is Tron, the one main person trying to solve the malignant plague, if you will. Here we see he has this whole little base camp set up on a cliff line. There's even a stash here that we can presumably use without having to go back to town, and it's there for a reason that we'll get to in a little bit. This is a nice little area with some runic markings on the floor that I would assume are to keep out about the spread of the Malignants from entering his little camp and affecting, well, him. After that, we see the inside of the end of a Malignant tunnel. These are the new dungeon type.
Complete the campaign with at least one character before Season of Malignant begins. See, that's another thing. The wordage of that. So, if the season begins, can I not complete the campaign in the Eternal Realm? You know what I mean? Does it reset the regular campaign in the Eternal Realm? Come on, Brain. You'll go back to the Eternal Realm when maybe a season doesn't interest you or acquire new gear and want to try it on your main character. Sure, Brain, but the point is that in the Eternal Realm, if there's cooler gear and stuff in the seasons, I have to wait, right? So there's really no reason for me to play the Eternal Realm unless, did I mishear them and they're actually taking the new gear and throwing it into the Eternal Realm the same time as the season, or does it come in after the season? I'm under the impression it comes in after the season. Surely it doesn't reset. That's dumb. That's brain dead. I mean, it could, chapter. I don't know. It's for story. The season story starts after campaign story ends. But they said the story in the campaign is not connected to the story inside the seasons. They just said it's like a side story.
Type activities with extra Malignant type enemies that you can use to farm.
Right, boss. That's what I'm thinking. After, right? I would imagine as well.
Malignant hearts, which are the main seasonal mechanic here. Just a cool view over the shoulder of a character as you enter the end chamber with the invoker set up in the middle. Then we get into the season journey, and here we have a lot of meat to actually break down because we simply weren't shown these screens in the Season 1 developer stream. We saw...
Okay, so in the season here, you see Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4, obviously 5, 6, and 7 Torment rankings, right?
Chapter 1, we saw a couple of the legendary aspects in the rewards at the bottom, but we only saw the one chapter, and in that chapter there were 5 aspects. The 2 that we saw were class-specific, so the logic was that Chapter 1 rewards 5 class-specific legendary aspects into your Codex of Power, right?
So in Chapter 1, it's giving you 5 aspects, and you have to complete the objectives, which is the Hangman's Garden, Heart of Corruption, and the Den of Evil. Oh, there's other ones down below. Trouble of Wilds. So how many? There's 9 objectives.
In previous tweets from the developers, we were told that all legendaries and uniques being added in the new season will be added to the Eternal Realm as well when the season hits.
Ah, there you go. So new legendary aspects and unique items are not limited to Seasonal Realm. They'll be made available on Eternal Realm as well as part of the same release.
In a separate tweet, we were told that the July 18th patch will in fact add the new 7
Didn't they say there's 31 new legendary affixes coming or something like that? Season will have 32 Malignant Hearts across 4 categories. That is a seasonal only starting at 720. 6 new unique items, 7 new legendary aspects, and will be for everyone a long balance update / changes starting on 718 with the update.
Legendaries and 6 uniques to the Eternal Realm. The logical reasoning understanding from those 2 tweets being put together is that we would only actually be getting 7 legendaries and 6 uniques for the season, but this couple of screenshots immediately disproves that completely. In the season journey, we know that Chapter 1 rewards 5 legendary powers to your codex. We now see that Chapter 3 screen, which also has 5 legendary powers, then they also quickly click through Chapter 2 a bit later on, showing another 5 legendary powers. Of course, the implication here is that there are now 5 legendary powers unlocked for your codex per chapter, which was, by the way, my initial guess. 7 chapters, which would make 30.
So there's 5 more aspects that are done in Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4, and then as they go 6, 7, and 8. See, and here's another thing, right? So if I play the season, I'm leveling up faster in the season for my character, right? Because of the bonus ashes that you get in the season pass or the battle pass, right? Which then upgrade your season pass or your season. Your character levels up faster. So if I play seasons, I'll go from 0 to 100 faster than if I play the Eternal Realm from 0 to 100. Now, the Eternal Realm, I'm going to be able to get the new uniques and stuff inside the actual Eternal Realm, which is nice. I do like that. I do like that. But now you're getting different aspects inside the season. So obviously, I'm getting more stuff if I do the season. So it's motivating me to go do the season. But the problem is, why do I have to do the seasons? Because seasons, and correct me if I'm wrong, chat, from people that played Diablo 3 and whatnot, that's for leaderboards that are not in the game during season 1 or 2, right? So it's the ladder system and whatnot, competing with other people. Why do I have to compete in that to do this stuff? Why can't I just get this stuff? I'm still playing the game, right? I'm still playing the game. I'm opting that I don't want to be part of the ladder system. So what's the difference if I play the game without doing that stuff? Like bosses in the season, waters in the season, brains in the season, but I'm in the Eternal Realm. What's the difference? We both paid $70 for the game, right? You're not paying extra for the seasons. Seasons is free. So what is the problem if I play Realms and still get this stuff without going into seasons? It says, yeah, we need to keep the seasonal modifiers and items in their own realm. We need the season reset to keep broken things out of PvP and from breaking the PvE experience. But those things are going into... The hearts are the only thing specific for the season, right? These aspects and stuff come into the Eternal Realm either during the season or after. Like if you take this character and bring him in, you can move these things over to the season because there's going to be a seasonal chest that you have to put in stuff in, and then you have to remove that before the season ends. You know what I mean? Oh no, you want seasonals. It's its own thing to keep broken things in the realm. This is Blizzard's trying to protect the player base. In what way are they protecting the player base, though, Tiny? The only thing that changes is the Malignant Hearts. That is the seasonal activity that makes you super OP during seasonal activity. And I'm not asking for the Malignant Hearts. I'm talking about the aspects that we're talking about right here that you get for the chapter rewards for tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? Here's a question. If you beat the game in the Eternal Realm, you can skip the campaign in the season. But now we hear that you need to complete the campaign chapters to get items. Right. One of the new aspects will be in the Eternal Realm, but just on random legendaries. Perhaps, I mean, if we back up here, right?
5 legends.
If we back up here. Hold on. It says right here, new legendary aspects and unique items are not limited to seasonal realm. They will be made available on the Eternal Realm as well as part of this on the same release. So you're getting these things. You're getting the unique items and you're getting the aspects, legendary aspects in the Eternal Realm. Right? But to get them in the Eternal Realm, this thing right here that we're looking at, okay, is part of the season. So you have to complete this in the season. What's going on, Hilly? Right? Like, this can only be complete while you're doing the seasons. Now do you get the seasonal items and aspects if you don't do the seasons? This is what we're trying to figure out, Tiny. Trust you want seasons its own thing. I can't imagine the broken, unbalanced items coming to the rest of the game. But the broken items, which they said are OP for the season, is the Malignant Hearts that you'll put on your jewelry. That is going to be to make you super OP. So if you're playing seasons, you're going to do super damage based on the Malignant Hearts that you put on your jewelry. In the Eternal Realm, nothing's going to give you a overpowered thing because everybody can get the same things. It wouldn't be... There's nothing wrong with the balance. The OP stuff is inside the season. The aspects that you're getting here and the legendaries and the uniques, right, will be in the season regardless. But to get that stuff, you have to do these objectives, and these objectives are only in the season.
legendary powers. Then they also quickly click through chapter 2 a bit later on, showing another 5 legendary powers. Of course, the implication here is that there are now 5 legendary powers unlocked for your codex per chapter, which was, by the way,
right? Because it says there's 11 objectives to complete. Complete 9 of the 11, meaning there's going to be a PvP one, and you could choose to do the PvP or not, or maybe there's 2 PvP ones.
My initial guess, 7 chapters, which would make 35 legendaries. I would also go out on a limb and say that there are 7 more than that, at least, which would be the 7 that are going to be added to the Eternal Realm. The way that I see it is that these journey ones will only exist as codex aspects that you can imprint, rather than being on items that you could just find in the...
Do you need to you need to do each class? I can speak today, Hilly. Do you need to do each class to get all the aspects? I don't think so, because I would assume that the aspects drop just like they do in the regular Eternal Realm, as far as, like, if I go do this dungeon, I can get that thing. So as long as you complete with one of your characters all of the 9 of the 11 objectives, I would assume you would get rewarded of those aspects, and those aspects can be put on any character, unless those aspects are specifically for your class that you're playing. And then if you wanted to get, like, a rogue class, then you would have to make a rogue in the seasons, plus a druid, plus... right? And then that would be a hard choice, because it all depends on what you want to bring back to your regular game if you ever go back to the Eternal Realm at all. It's just weird to me. I feel it's weird to me that you're getting stuff to grab from the seasons to put into the Eternal Realm that you'll never play because you're going to play seasons. It's a PvP that throws a monkey wrench into the mix. Yeah, I think you as a player want to buffer from season items being moved into the Eternal Realm. The stuff that's on the seasons and the Eternal Realm is not going to be something that's super OP, though, Tiny. The only thing that's OP is the Malignant Hearts that you're going to be putting on the actual jewelry that vanishes once you are done with the season, right? That doesn't come over with you back to the Eternal Realm. The aspects and stuff, and you would hope that as a developer, they created aspects that wouldn't be super OP to break their game, so they would have to fix it. That would be so stupid if they designed it that way. I wouldn't mind doing the season's journey with one class. If they ask for more, then it would be just to focus on the Eternal Realm. Right. Eternal Realm needs to have a hook, that can change my builds easily with the new season items and aspects. Otherwise, why would I play there? This is my whole point. Why would you play the Eternal Realms if everything you can get is in the seasons? And the seasons is for the leader or the ladders system, which is not in the first 2 seasons. Right? Why do they have Eternal Realm when, if I play a druid on the seasons and then I level up, and if Hilly's asking the question, do you get one for each class, or do I have to make a druid? And if I want the aspects for the druid, make the druid. And if I want the aspects for the rogue, I gotta make the rogue, and then constantly level up in the seasons, then what's the point at all? Because at the end of the day, when the season's over, or you're done with the season as a player, you're going to take whatever you got from the seasons, and it's going to move over to the Eternal Realm. And then the Eternal Realm, the next season starts, and you're not going to have time to play the Eternal Realm with your characters, with the aspects that you brought in. You're just going to go back into the next season of Season 2. Because there's, like, literally no break. Maybe a week between Season 1 and Season 2.
Wild, as that is the only way to interpret the tweets from the devs up to this point without just straight up saying that they said something incorrect, which is possible, but I don't want to say that either. That said, lots of legendaries coming in this season, excitement building even further now. After that, we see what is presumably the first quest of the seasonal questline, Burning from Within, right at the waypoint in Kiovashad, where an NPC tells you that
I think I'm gonna go Druid again, Water. I want to go Druid again because I want to see how fast I can level up a character and compare it to the Druid and how I was struggling to level up. Not struggling, but how slow it was. Season in general is a stupid idea. I won't say nothing else on it. Not trying to be a hater. No, Dabstick, I don't think seasons are dumb. I don't. I just think it's dumb the way they're implementing it attached to the Eternal Realm. Like, we both paid the money to play the game, right? Like, there's nothing else to spend money on. And if you want to buy the battle pass, you can buy the battle pass. I still think it's dumb that you can't do the battle pass in the Eternal Realm, right? That to me is dumb. But if we both pay the exact same amount of money and you're not paying for extra stuff in the seasons, you're just playing the season because it's free content, why do I have to play? Why are you forcing me to play seasons? That's what I don't understand. I think they kind of implemented it kind of wrong. Lily says, I found this with Diablo 3. I have friends with only plays seasons and a couple that only play Eternal Realms. This setup will split the player base, and they would be better off adding different things to the Eternal Realm. Well, they add the stuff to the Eternal Realm from seasons. I think the rogue or barbarian druid makes me cry. They're different, so make realms different. Seasons have always been this way in Diablo. JM Ford, you have to uncloud your brain as a Diablo ARPG fan. Diablo 2 is different than Diablo 3. Diablo 4 is different than Diablo 3. This is the first Diablo that has now been an online-only game 100% in an open world. It is not the same game that it was in Diablo 3, which is not the same game that was in Diablo 2. You have to look at what the landscape of gaming is. It's not the same. Just like Final Fantasy has changed and evolved over time, Diablo is not the same type of game that it was back in Diablo 2. Sure, you're killing things and you're getting loot and you're mid-maxing, you're playing endgame, okay? But it's a completely different landscape of what Diablo is. So much so that they don't even know what they're doing with the seasons or the battle pass. There's never been a battle pass inside the actual Diablo. So to say that it's always been this way is literally false because it's now changing. They should have two different battle passes, one for Eternal Realm and one for Seasons. I don't think they need to do it that way, Illy. They could literally just take the battle pass and make it for the Eternal Realm as well. Yeah, I agree. The Eternal Realms should have a battle pass track. Not sure how you can uncouple the story bits from the season. But the only thing for Seasons is the ladder system to compete with the ladder system. So if I want to not go into the ladder system, then let me go to the Eternal Realms. And now people are like, well, no, this is always the way it's been. Well, if I want to compete, then I'll compete. Right? It's like if I'm running in the park and there's a marathon, I could choose to enter into the marathon, or I could just run by myself. Right? Just because it's always been that way doesn't mean it's the best way to go about it. But even if it's always been that way, why can't you separate it? No one's surprised. I don't think anyone's surprised. The argument that people were doing, and a lot of content creators were combining it all in, the issue that people were having was the battle pass. The issue was the battle pass, Ford. It wasn't about seasons. People were merging it together. It's that the battle pass has to be done in the seasons. But people don't care. They just want to do the battle pass in the Eternal Realm because they've already put time into that character. People are surprised and they knew this since the get-go, but still wish it wasn't that way. But the battle pass has never been in the game before. Never been in the game before. You want Seasons as a Diablo player to keep OP items in check for PvE and PvP. The game developer, you need systems to protect the players from themselves. Again, the gear that's in the Seasons, the Malignant Hearts, is the OP items. That's it. And that does not come out of Seasons. That literally disappears off your character once Seasons is over. Those don't move over to the Eternal Realm. So they don't need to protect you from anything because the items that they're implementing into the game are already going to be into the Eternal Realm. Only the Malignant Hearts are what's the OP item, which disappear at the end of the season. I wonder what the percentage that even look at the ladders in D3. I don't know. But the Battle Pass exists, other things, and it's never been well received. This is all new landscape for them inside this game.
They saw a person turn into a demon, the corruption spilling out when her skin burst. This is sort of nuts, very visceral, and while it lines up with our understanding of what the season was going to be, this really helps to set the actual tone of it. This storyline will be dark. The whole season will be very dark, so just be ready for that. Be ready for people and monsters just bursting into demons being at the forefront of it all. Then we see some more gameplay clips, a druid using cyclone armors active and then also wind shear as a basic skill, a rogue using barrage with some imbuements, and again, a barbarian using upheaval. Possibly some more buffed abilities, maybe they're related to some of the new legendaries, we'll have to actually see. Then we see a pair of level 40 characters taking on an invoker event. These are the things that you can activate in Malignant Tunnels at the end to farm a specific...
Big Bobby says, I don't think they can separate them. Why? Big Bobby, if you're playing in Eternal Realm and I'm playing in Seasons, how does that affect each other? How does it affect each other? This is a business decision that they don't want to separate it because they want people, they're pushing you to complete the campaign and they're pushing you into Seasons for metrics, for data, for whatever reason they're doing it.
Specific type of Malignant Heart. Good to have some more footage attached to that though so we can actually see what it looks like properly. After this, the info starts to get a bit...
Seasons give you the player, a developer, a breathing room to see how these new items aspects play out. Again, it's not about the aspects, Tiny. It's about the Malignant Hearts. The season is about the event, which is Malignant Hearts, which go on your jewelry. That is just an OP item to make it fun to play. Once the season ends, those Malignant Hearts disappear from your inventory. They get removed from your thing. Nothing else is OP. Nothing else is OP.
More spread out, so we won't be breaking it down quite as tightly as we have until now. The next bit of important info is expect new transmogs to appear in the game. Yes, there are ones from the shop that will be added, there are ones from the battle pass as well, but they make a point of saying from gear too. So of course the implication there is that there will be new free stuff that you can just find in the game as actual gear drops from enemies, then salvage that to get the cosmetic look from them. Then they talk a little bit about the battle pass itself, not any new info on it, just showing the first 10 levels of rewards, again, nothing major, but this is what the...
Okay, Battle Pass. Earn favor. Earn favor by killing monsters and completing quests and completing objects in the season journey. Unlock rewards. Use favor to unlock reward tiers. Premium tiers will only grant rewards to premium Battle Pass owners. Season journey. Complete objectives across multiple chapters to earn additional favor and rewards. And blessing. Smoldering Ashes are rewards in the Battle Pass. Use these to unlock seasonal blessings, boosts for XP, gold, and more. That is the major difference for Seasons. You're getting the Malignant Hearts to make you OP, to put on your jewelry, and you're also getting the Smoldering Ashes to put on to level up faster, your XP, your gold, which is different because you can stack them now. You have your potions that you get more XP for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is, and then on top of that, you're getting XP bonuses for your Ashes, plus with group members, you get more XP as well. So you're going to level up faster, okay, inside of the seasonal content more than the Eternal Realm.
The UI will look like for this screen. Then we see a few frames of Cormund in what I assume is his initial camp setup earlier in the seasonal questline. This is the part of the Burning from Within quest. We assume that's the first quest in the seasonal questline, and so this is one of the earlier encounters that you'll have with this character. After that, they talk a bit more about the Smoldering Ashes and the Season Blessings. You get Smoldering Ashes from the free track of the Battle Pass, meaning that everyone can get them, even if...
Right. And here it is, right? Boost your XP and earn from the monster kills, and you can level up 4 times. It goes up, I think, 3% each time. So let's just say maybe it goes up to 15% max for the first one. Then you have your boost of your amount of gold earned from vendors. Starts off at plus 5%. Maybe it goes up to 20%. Who knows? Boost the chance of rare materials from salvage. It starts at 10%. Maybe it moves up to 40%. Who knows? Boost your duration of elixirs. Starts off at 15%. Maybe it goes up every 15. Not sure. And boost your chance of powerful Malignant Heart drops. Heart drops after completing the campaign.
If you don't spend any money, you can spend them to upgrade different possible boosts for your character, such as XP gain from kills, gold from sales, rare materials from salvage.
The reason, boss, that people wouldn't want to go into seasons is because they already put in whatever time that they're playing in their main character, and they don't want to start over. They want to keep leveling up their character. They want to keep leveling up their if they're at level 60 now or 70 or 80 or 90, whatever it is, they want to keep leveling up that character. But if they are leveling up that character and there's nothing to get in that system, this is why they're like, why do I have to go play seasons?
Salvaging, duration of elixirs, and boosted drop chance on rare malignant hearts, which is going to be very important as we get further into the season. We don't learn anything new from this, but the two big things that I would like to know are how many Smoldering Ashes are we going to have by the end of the season? Will it be enough to upgrade all of these blessings, or are our choices here?
No, they would have to rewrite the code of the game. For what? What do they have to rewrite the code for? What would they have to rewrite the code for? Let me ask this again, because I didn't play Diablo 3. I played one season of Diablo 3. I bought it in November on sale for $8. Started playing it to get ready for Diablo 4, right? Because I played Destiny and Division and all these other games when Diablo 3 was out, okay? What is the point of seasons? And everyone's going to tell me it's the ladder system. It's competing against other people, leveling up fast, who can do the most damage, and whatnot, right? And in Diablo 3, you either played with your buddies and they pulled you through, or you played by yourself and you were on a leaderboard. Okay? So now we're in D4. That is it. If everyone's doing the ladder system, and the ladder system is not in Season 1 or 2, what is the point of seasons being separated from the rest of the game? Travis says, question. You know how there's an actual court and the court of public opinion? Do you think seasons is something that pissed enough people off it might be seen as a bad no matter what? No, I don't think it's bad. I don't think the season's bad. I think what they're doing, and again, this is not a problem that the gamers caused. This is the problem that Blizzard caused, because Blizzard went for a more casual, they went for more people. This is the most successful Diablo as ever created. More people bought this Diablo than ever before. Okay. So they wanted to get the other player base in here. They got it. And now they're pushing back going, well, why do I have to take my time that I put 100 hours into this character, and now I have to go make a new character to get stuff that you're taking away from me after the fact? I just want to play my other character and level up my gear and make another character in the Eternal Realm, okay? Or keep that character that I'm using and constantly level them up, and new stuff comes in, and I change my builds and whatnot. This is something they caused themselves. This is not the player base's problem. This is the developer's problem. Heidi says, I suspect you can't get seasonal items unless you bring them out of the season ends. Again, let me rewind this for you. Let me rewind this for you, because that's not what that says. On the screen, right here. New legendary aspects and unique items are not limited to Seasonal Realm. They will be made available on the Eternal Realm as well as part of the same release. So new legendary aspects and unique items will be dropping into Seasons and also the Eternal Realm at the exact same time. So there's no code being written. They don't need to do it. They are literally proving to you they can drop them at the exact same time in the Eternal Realm as the Seasons. The only reason for Seasons, let me tell you from the back of the room, okay, the only reason for Seasons is the ladder system that people that have been playing Diablo 2 and 3 for decades is still there, okay? Okay, that the reason Seasons are there is for the ladder system. If I don't want to partake in the ladder system, let me be in the Eternal Realm and play. How does it hurt you if I don't play on the leaderboard? If you want a character for 10 years, there's Diablo Immortal. I wish I could have PvE only in Sea of Thieves, but it's never going to happen. It's not the same thing. Not the same thing. No, the seasons are used for ladders and global modifiers. That's what I just said. It's for the ladder system. That's what Seasons is for. And the global modifier is the Malignant Hearts. If you want to go partake in that, you could go over there. So why would I need to play the Seasons? Just give me the battle pass so I can go up the thing, get the ashes, right? The smoldering ashes, and then I can take those to put the XP on the regular realm. That is a huge change from before. Usually new items drop in the seasons first and end up in the non-seasonal content after it ends. And again, this is why I said this is not the same game that you played in D2. This is not the same game you played in D3. So people saying that this is just the way it is. This is just the way ARPGs are. This is the way Diablo is. You guys are all delusional. Okay? This is a business, and they've changed the fundamental of the business, and they have to change over time. And they've now, look. So anyone that wants to defend, well, this is how ARPGs are, read this out loud to yourself over and over. They've added the aspects and unique items into the season the exact same time as seasons in the Eternal Realm.
As well when the season hits. In a separate tweet, we were told that the July 18th patch will in fact add the new to matter a lot more. What level?
Can you explain why someone playing a game released 8 years ago gives them the right to tell you how to play a different game next week? It's just the fact, Lurker, that people are like this. Yeah, I'll give you an analogy. I'll give you an analogy in the business profession. When I worked in the camera industry, okay, there was a grunge. I can't even say it. There was a pissed off dude that worked in the industry who was my mentor. Okay. And when he got into the business, okay, he had to get hazed, basically. Okay. And did certain things because that's what he did. Just the way it was. It's just the way it was. So then I came along. Okay. And if you guys can't tell, I'm a person that doesn't deal with a lot of shit. Okay. So my first day on the thing, he reamed me out and stuff like that. And it's just the way it was, right? And I was like, all right, well, that's just the way it is because that's what he did, right? They pushed him around, they did this, and now he is who he is in the industry because of what happened to him. So then he would tell me to go do this. I said, no, I'm not doing that. He says, well, you got to do that. And I'm not doing that. Well, then you're not going to work in the industry. I said, well, I guess I'm not going to work in the industry for you, right? And I got his respect, and I didn't do what he did. I did what I wanted to do because it was stupid what he did because he didn't have the balls to say something. So he had to do it because that was the way. Okay. That's the exact same thing that's happening in games because I had to grind 20 years ago, right? That's just the way it is. This is just the set, not how they're setting the rules for the actual developer. The developer's saying, well, we want more casual players to come into our game. Here's the casual players. Now the people that are hardcore players are like, casual players are ruining the game. Go talk to Blizzard. Blizzard's the one that wanted the casual gamers into the game. They wanted to get more people to get their game. Why? Because they wanted to make more money. How do you make more money? By adding a battle pass, which has never been in Diablo before. So people think they could gatekeep because of how they played a game in the past compared to what it is today.
Will we have to be for each of them as well is an important thing to know. We can already see that the first Smoldering Ashes are at tier 8 on the Battle Pass, but require you to be level 35 to actually use them, so you already have a fair bit of work to do before you can even get that first one actually applied. Directly after this, though, we see something brand new, which is Malignant Heart Crafting.
That's a really over extreme thing, Travis, but you're absolutely right. Right? We used to burn people at the stake because they thought they were witches. Just the way it is. Just the way it was. It's thinking as you as a player won't play every season. The season provides a reset for everyone, so you, as a new or returning player, don't feel left out. Sure, but why do I don't have an option. I don't have an option. If I want the battle pass, I have to play seasons. I wouldn't try to defend the setup of seasons of Diablo 4 without the ladders. It makes no sense. If I was trying to always saw the ER as slow game, the Eternal Realm as slow with low drop rates and the seasons as fast and high drops, plus modifiers, right? Plus the modifiers. Like hearts, I think, are gone after season 1. Yeah, they disappear. So if you have it on your gear, boss, if I have it on my jewelry, you're not using gems anymore, right? You're going to take the gems off. You're going to put the Malignant Hearts on your actual jewelry. So you're going to have a build. So let's say your build is extremely high end now for whatever build you want. At the end of the season, your druid, your rogue, your necromancer, once the season's over, you're going to lose the malignant hearts off your gear. So now you're going to move that character over to the Eternal Realm, and your build is completely shit now because it was built on the malignant hearts. Now you're taking that character, moving it over to the season, or I'm sorry, the Eternal Realm, and now you have to work your build up again because you're not going to have this as much power as you did in the seasons.
This is actually really cool. We can make a lot of inferences from this screen. First and foremost, this is the camp area with the stash that we talked about earlier. Here we see 3 types of caged heart. You know that there are 4 types of them overall. One of them can go in each color of infested socket, and then one of them that's just sort of a wild card that can go in any type of the sockets. It would appear that you can't craft the wild card ones at all. Those will only be drops from...
That's another point, right? And for 10 slots, how long before you delete the other character? Yeah, because you're going to run out of spots if you're a really diehard person. But that person that's making that many characters, Hilly, I don't think cares.
The actual enemy encounters in the game, and in theory, those will be the most powerful ones, so that makes sense. But you can craft 3 of their types. We didn't know that you could craft before this, but how do you craft them, you ask? Well, we can see that crafting a vicious caged heart requires devious and brutal ichor. There is also a salvage symbol tab at the top, so it makes sense to say that you can salvage the malignant hearts that you aren't going to use, which will give you ichor from that type of malignant heart. Then creating a new heart actually requires the ichor from the other 2 types. That system is actually really straightforward. It makes a lot of sense just looking at this one screenshot, and until this moment, we had no idea we would even actually be able to full-on craft these ourselves. We thought they would just be from drops, so actually seeing this is really good info to be aware of that changes the way that we're going to be approaching this season. After that, we just go back into a bit more Battle Pass talk, nothing really new to see here. Then we see a big malignant Goatman enemy spawn in, which looks gnarly as hell, and when he dies, you can see the caged heart dropping as a reward. It's just a nice cinematic view of how that system will actually work, shown super quickly. After that, we swap to a bear form druid for a moment, and Jesus Christ, do you see how red this druid is? I know you can get pretty red from just getting covered in blood from killing enemies in combat as bear form, but that looks intensely more red to me than...
Oh, it's going to be an absolute cluster, Tiny. It's going to be an absolute cluster for the stash. From seasons moving over to the regular realm.
Blood. It looks way more red before than what I've seen in game. No idea what this actually is though, but it implies to me that Clifford the Big Red Bear might be a bit of a hint towards a legendary, maybe a malignant heart, or even one of the new unique items that will be added to the game. Then after this, it just shows some Eternal Realm stuff, talks about the concept of starting again fresh and how it is not as daunting as it may seem. All of the fun stuff, and in this existing game footage that we already have, it actually cuts to show a bear druid who is notably less red but still covered in blood, which I think lends credence to my previous point, my last theory. After that, we can see what appears to be Cormand himself, the main NPC of the seasonal questline, the person trying to solve the malignants. I don't know, I'm sort of inferring from the silhouette, as obviously the lighting is intentionally quite vague here, but I'm pretty sure that's him. The outfit and the hair looks right, but it appears that he is the one summoning the new boss that we know about. Potentially this will be a big sort of bearer of the malignants, the curse spreading around, and he is summoning it to try and get us to kill it and defeat it in the hopes that it will solve the actual problem. Spoiler alert, the season is 3 months long. This will not solve the problem. Past this, they just go back over the fact that your Altars of Lilith and your Fog of War map discovery progress will be saved going from the Eternal Realm going into the Seasonal Realm, which is lovely to hear again, even though it's something that we already knew, and that's actually pretty much it as far as the actual info dropped within the trailer. The full trailer has been broken down right here from start to finish, all the important stuff, all the little hints that they don't say out loud, but they're trying to drop somewhat slyly, and the biggest thing, without a doubt to me, is one, confirmation that we are getting at minimum 15 new legendary aspects to our Codex of Power, though in all likelihood it will actually be more than double that if we can extrapolate properly based on the information given. And two, we can craft the malignant hearts. We thought they were only drops before, but knowing that we can craft the vast majority of them actually changes the system quite a bit. It removes a lot of the RNG potential that it has. It means that we actually have a lot more control. All that to say, there is going to be a big balancing patch as well before the season starts. The season itself will have a ton of changes to our builds too, in theory, both between the balancing itself and then these new legendary powers and the malignant hearts that we will have added as well. So we have a lot to look forward to here, and a lot of theory crafting in our future too for the people.
Now, the malignant hearts are interesting to me because you can craft them, right, to try to get the gear that you want, right? So if you want a blue one into your blue realm or the red, whatever, there's the three different, right? There's blue, red, and purple, I think it is. So, like, you got the brutal caged heart, the vicious caged heart, and the devious caged heart. This is a farming system, right? This is an intentional farming system that you're like, oh, I'm looking for a red caged heart for my, my ring or my necklace or whatever it is. So you'll be able to click, because they showed some footage during the stream that you could pick the color you want, and then when you pick that, that's when the boss comes in, and then you fight that boss, and he drops the thing that you want to put on your actual thing. So there is a potential actual targeted loot system. Now, it's targeted loot for the color, but not the actual the item itself, right? Not the item itself. I don't think I'll bother with the migrating the characters at the reset of each season. Looks like Microsoft won their court case. Is that official? Real question is, why couldn't they just make the DLC for the game instead of seasons? The seasons is seasons, and they've implemented the seasons as where they're putting the story campaign and whatnot, right? The big issue is not about seasons. It's about the battle pass that people want to go up with the ashes, with the bonuses that they get XP to put in the Eternal Realm. That was the thing. Also, the series is $200 from Prime Day. Gotta get this battle. They gotta get the Game Passes. They want to sell that to get Game Pass. Reiterating that Diablo 4 is not coming to Xbox Game Pass for now. Wait a month. Yeah, them saying they have no interest in them coming to Game Pass. Look, obviously, me and you know that if they put it there, it would literally, people would be pissed off that they just paid $70, $80 and then it comes out like a month later, right? Obviously, we know that it's going to come to Game Pass. They're like, we're not coming to Game Pass. I hate to tell you, Activision Blizzard, even though they said that you're going to act separately from the rest of the, you're not going underneath the Microsoft Studio umbrella. You're owned by Microsoft. You have no say on where you would like to go or don't go anymore. You are now working under the Microsoft, and if they say jump, you say where to.
As well, so we have a lot to look forward to here, and a lot of theory crafting in our future too for the people who like to come up with their own builds. Outside of that, we got to learn a good bit of flavor stuff, we got to see the new boss in action just a little bit, we got to see actual active visual changes that will affect the entire open world of Diablo 4, which is awesome, and we got to see a tiny little bit of the seasonal questline itself and what it will look like. I'm really just looking forward to seeing even more stuff. I cannot wait for the season to drop. I've loved my time with Diablo 4 so far, and I cannot wait to see how it continues moving on into Season 1. Like if you liked the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
All right. So, good video. Lots of stuff. That's from Rage Gaming Video. Let me put that in my description so we have his name. Let's see. Video watched. Rage Gaming Video, yeah. Let's give a like on that video. All right, lots of information. Look, I've loved my time with Diablo 4. I'm not shit talking it in any way, shape, or form. I'm giving feedback based on what the game is. I have over 170 hours inside the game. I've enjoyed my time. If I play the seasons and don't like it, you know what the worst part is? I put it down. I don't play it anymore, which is not a big thing because I put my time in. I got my money's worth out of Diablo 4 if I never go back and play it. Obviously, I said I'll stop playing on stream if the stashes get sold. If I can earn those stashes, because we know it's not happening until at least Season 2, because they're not fixing the stashes anytime soon. But if they charge for stashes, I'm pretty much done with the game, because I think that's stupid that they do it that way. But hey, businesses are going to do what they have to do. I think there's flaws. I think there's flaws in the system that they've done. I think Diablo 4 in the old sense, or I should say Diablo, not Diablo 4. Diablo 4, the way they built it is new than the past. So, sure, it's an ARPG, it's Diablo, this is the way it is, but it's a completely different game, and they made the game to evolve with these times now. Always online, constant live service, constant battle passes, and they have to adapt with the time. Do I think it sucks? No, I think it's okay. I think it's a little lackluster for their first season, and I think they have to make adjustments as they go. Am I going to try it? Yes. So I can give you my actual thoughts of what they could do to make it better, or or not. But we're going to try it. I don't know what character we're going to make yet. I think I'm going to stick with Druid just to see how fast I can go up with the Druid inside the seasons compared to my Druid inside the Eternal Realm. I just don't get why you would make a new character, even though now the legendaries, uniques, and aspects are all going to come into the Eternal Realm. It's like, why do I need to go into the seasons? Seasons are meant for the ladder system, right? And for the Malignant Hearts and whatever the next Season 2, instead of Malignant Hearts, it's Devastating Hearts, and it levels up your armor faster, or you have OP weapon builds, whatever. It's the same thing. It's modifiers. That's what the modifiers are, and that's what it's going to be. That's the hook, right? That's the hook. So we'll see what happens. Next thing we want to talk about, let's do a quick story here of the three, because that went over quite a bit. The next thing, 6-year-old game is back near the top of the Xbox sales charts. 6-year-old game shutting down soon manages to find itself back in the near top of the bestsellers list on the Xbox consoles. Friday the 13th game has managed to find itself back at the top of the best-selling of the list of players. Hold on 1 second. Let's close that advertisement. Multiplayer horror game where one player takes the role of the iconic villain Jason Voorhees, and as it plays the unfortunate camp counselor. The game has a sizable dedicated community, players in the first, but interested waned thanks to the lack of substantial content updates on other issues. Now, they couldn't update the game because of the lawsuit that was happening. The legal battles over the Friday the 13th IP saw that it had no major new content was released for Friday the 13th, and the game's online multiplayer games liked required a steady stream of new content to keep fans engaged, and so these legal issues were basically a death sentence for the game. Despite this, Friday the 13th game has still managed to hold on for a few years, though it's shutting down at the end of this year. Now, Friday the 13th game is being delisted on December 31st, 2023, at which point it will become completely unplayable. Because of this, the game is currently enjoying a massive discount, and it's also been the Xbox version price reduced to $5. This is a turn has a result in sales spike for the game, and has also been climbed back into the top 10 best-selling Xbox games, as pointed out by the Pure Xbox. Now, right now, Friday the 13th game is the 8th best-selling digital Xbox game, as you can tell. You got Diablo #1, Grand Theft Auto Online. It's amazing to me that Grand Theft Auto Online is still on these charts, beating other ones. I mean, it's insane. Insane. Hogwarts, Minecraft, Friday the 13th, Hogwarts Legacy, X version. And then it says, as an even older game is currently in the 10th place spot, Rockstar Grand Theft Auto 4 is also enjoying a nice price cut, currently available for $7 instead of usual $20. The Xbox Series X version of Hogwarts Legacy is in 9th place, followed by the Friday the 13th game, Minecraft, and then the Xbox One version of Hogwarts Legacy, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breaking Point, Deluxe Edition, discounted from $70 to $13.99. That's a hefty discount. And Grand Theft Auto 5 Premium Edition, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Cross-Gen Bundle, and Grand Theft Auto Online and Standard Edition of Diablo 4. It's worth pointing out that anyone that decides to buy Friday the 13th game, while the discount is $5, will be getting a rather complete version of the game. Since the game is shutting down anyway, Friday the 13th players have all been taken to max level automatically, giving the best rolls for all 30 legendary perks, and giving other unlockables like the different kills, challenge skulls, and Friday the 13th, the game will remain playable until December 31st, so anyone interested in playing before it shuts down forever should jump in the opportunity to get the $5 while they still can. So, Friday the 13th, great game. And then also on top of that, there's some sales going on. You can get the Grand Theft Auto 5 for $23.99 with Game Pass. You can get Ghost Recon Breaking Point with Game Pass for $13.99. You can also get, what else? Grand Theft Auto 4 for $7 with Gold. So there's some information for you guys if you are on Xbox. Friday the 13th game was a lot of fun. We had a blast playing with it. I made an intro for it way back in the day, like a television show, because every time it was like a sitcom type of thing I created. I don't even know where that is. If I can find that. Let's see. Friday the 13th. Not there. Oh, you know where it would be? I showed it on stream before. It would be underneath our Twitch. I think it's in the highlights of Twitch. Let me see if I... Let's see if I can find it.
Just take with the night.
Creator dashboard. Content. Clips. Do I have it? Yeah, that's Valheim, Marvel's Avengers. Yeah, lots of Marvel's Avengers content there. I go way back. Foxhole, South Park. Friday the 13th. Let's see. Is this the Give me some head. Leave me alone. This was a fun game, right? So this is one of the clips. I don't even know what this clip is from us. Give me some head. Leave me alone. Oh god. Leave me alone. Look at my ass. Look at my ass. Oh my god. Oh my god. This was a great game.
Oh, look at the body ragdoll. Oh my gosh.
This was very fun. Let's see, we have a best summer camp ever. We got this one, this clip. Oh god, I missed him. I missed him. No! No! You son of a bitch! Oh god.
Come on.
I literally closed the window to die to my own fucking stupidity. That was fantastic.
Whoa, shoot. How do I do this now? Hey there, pal. How are you?
It was just a fun game, man. Yeah, I think I have other clips. It had major problems, I'll be honest with you. It had major problems when it first came out. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, it's the same company, and it's on Game Pass, I believe, Jesse. I believe it's on Game Pass as well. So if we have people that want to play, I don't know if it's cross-platform. It'd be fantastic if it was cross-platform. I want to try to find the damn clip because it's funny. Okay, here it is. Do I have... That's part 9, part... Oh. Friday the 13th, part 1. Where is it?
You're gonna stay here now.
We still have the gameplay from all the way back. God, how many? 6 years ago, 2017. Let me see if I can. So make sure you follow 30 and Still Gaming across the. Here it is. Beautiful day. I got. Okay, here it is. Hold on. This was an opening I did. So every time we played this game, we made it like a sitcom. The point of the way I used to do stuff, I wanted to make it like a feeling of you were watching, like, so you tuned in at 8 o'clock at night and you were watching a sitcom or you were watching a show, and then we would play the game, and I had different openings for different games and whatnot. So it takes a bit to do it. It takes a bit to do it, but do you like the song I picked? I thought it was funny because it was like a sitcom song about a psycho. It was a fantastic game. It was a fantastic game. I should really download those and upload those on a. Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what I was going for, Chapter 8. It was like a Full House type of thing, but just complete psychopath that was killing all the counselors and stuff. We could try something out, Dad. We could try something out. Yeah, it was such a good game. All right, let's go to the next story. So check it out. Friday the 13th, $5, $6, whatever it is. Is it $4.99? Was it $5.99? It was $5.99. You can pick it up. What does it say? It is, yeah, $4.99. So it's $5. It is definitely a group game. So you get a group of people together, or obviously matchmake. But right now it's booming. A lot of people are playing it. So check it out. I had my fun with that game. And everyone's leveled up all the way to the top now. So you don't have to do the leveling system. Everyone's just maxed out and just have fun. My comment was about crossplay. I put the comments above. Let me see what you put. There's crossplay, cross support with Chainsaw Massacre with PlayStation 5, PC, and Xbox Series XS, but there's not PlayStation 4 and Xbox One version. Oh, well, that's good. At least it's crossplay. That'll be fun. So anybody that gets that game, we'll have a night where we play. Maybe we'll do a member stream. There are a couple good deals, Water. I was going to look at some of the deals today, but I can't afford any of them, even on Prime Day. All right. Next story I want to talk about. Baldur's Gate 3. It could take 18 playthroughs to see everything on a single character. So in a Game Rant interview on Baldur's Gate 3, devs revealed that 18 playthroughs are necessary to see every possible permutation for one character. Right? You think you're resetting and playing your character. Do you see the difference of your character? Like Diablo, you're just resetting characters, but to see all the permutations in Diablo for one character, you have to play 18 playthroughs. 18. Chainsaw Massacre, Travis. Chainsaw Massacre. It says, to experience every possible story permutation on the single character of Baldur's Gate 3, it can take up to 18 playthroughs. Lead writer Adam Smith recently revealed in an interview with Game Rant. It's no secret that Baldur's Gate 3 is a huge game, complete with custom and origin characters, diverging storylines, romance, factions, and more, but the statistic really puts it into perspective. Previously, Lorraine Studios has also said that Baldur's Gate 3 has 174 hours of cutscenes, which is said to be twice the combined length of every Game of Thrones season out there. Those cutscenes are the results of various story choices, permutations, and the dice roll made by the player. Furthermore, Lorraine Studios has also stated that the single playthrough of Baldur's Gate will take players between 75 and 100 hours to beat on average. If anything is cleared based on its alone, it's Baldur's Gate 3 is packed with content in all shapes and sizes. During our conversation with Smith, he talked about the various permutations in the overarching story and the quest design, and then the characters Baldur's Gate 3 overall is the only possible because of how everyone at Lorraine collaborated together on every single aspect of the game. So, for example, one writer was responsible for working on the assigning tasks based on all possible romance permutations in the game. And this is also just a facet of consideration for Baldur's Gate 3 characters. There's also the perspective of origin characters versus custom characters, factions, and more. That all have to be factored in. When testing these origin characters, the actual various permutations, Smith realized that for one of them, just to test every branch of the story, I needed to play the game 18 times. Now, of course, this includes permutations of all sorts, such as romance among Baldur's Gate 3 companions, also how they took the major story branches. Now that they worked with factions from around the game and more, it's also possible to see some of these permutations by save scumming. I love how they say save scumming. I mean, you play the game how you want. I personally, when I play a game, I don't save and then see the other one. I make a choice. I go with that choice, and then I stick with it. It gives me more emotion and stuff towards the game. While perhaps some could be seen as partial playthroughs, but the whole game cannot be seen in one playthrough simply because of how the story can diverge. Okay, this may seem daunting, but this is highly, highly, highly unlikely that anyone would invest 1,800 or so hours, or 1,800 hours required to complete 18 full playthroughs. This does come with a huge benefit for players, though. All of these permutations contribute to personalizing the game for each player. By the time you reach the ending, you've told your own story, Smith said, which I think is really cool, right? I think in a game like this, especially respect players' time. Every time I play the game or you play the game, it could be completely different, and I think that's a really cool thing. And it's a single-player game, right? It's a single-player game. As a result, the sheer replay value of Baldur's Gate 3 is incredibly high. And a lot depends on the players engaged with the title as well. With the full release on the horizon, Smith said one major piece of advice for players is Baldur's Gate 3 is a big world of connection systems, toys, characters, and more. Experiment with it, play with it, and see what's possible. I think this is great. Okay? I mean, tons and tons of playthrough stuff. So if you're looking for it, if you're waiting for a game, if you're waiting for a game that has rich story, Baldur's Gate is that game, right? If you like Mass Effect, if you like Elder Scrolls, if you like those types of games, you're going to love this open world Baldur's Gate story with, I mean, if you really want your money's worth, 18 playthroughs, that's 1,800 hours. 1,800 hours. All right? It's fantastic. If you like The Witcher and you like the story, it's like Baldur's Gate's going to be that game. It's going to be an absolute gem, I think. A lot of people won't look at this and give it the time of day, but a lot of people are talking about Spider-Man being game of the year, Starfield being game of the year. This might surprise a bunch of people, all depending on how it's done, right? Baldur's Gate could be potential game of the year with all the stuff that's going on, right? Wait, hey, bro, I'm waiting for a game. You're waiting for a game. You're waiting for this game, right? I played all the Baldur's Gates with my wife, single player. Ruined shit again. Yeah, so there is potential that this game could be the game that just steals the show, but we'll see. If it wasn't turn-based, I'd grab it. This is my style. I think, I like I said, it's a niche community. But as far as like the production value of the game, Water, this could be up there for game of the year, or it might just get overlooked. This year, man. This year, I'm gonna look at all the games that come out. Obviously, we're waiting for other games like Baldur's Gate, Starfield. Well, there's one more game. What's the last game that's coming out for the end of the year? Oh, Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2. With all these games coming out, I would say after Spider-Man 2 launches, we're going to look at all the games that came out this year. It's a banger, man. There's a lot of games that came out this year. You got Hogwarts, you got Final Fantasy, you got Star Wars, you got Baldur's Gate, you got Starfield, you got Spider-Man, you got, what was the other game that came out? Hi-Fi Rush is up there, right? There's a lot of games that came out this year that are just bangers. Just great games. Spider-Man already has a game of the year written on the box. We'll see. There's a lot of games. Oh, Zelda. Thank you, Hilly. Thank you. What's going on, Robert? Wait, what game is this? This is Baldur's Gate 3. Oh, for sure, Travis. See, and I don't care who wins. The only people that win from this is all the games that get nominated for Game of the Year, they go on sale. And then anyone that didn't buy the other games gets those games on sale. Yeah, nomination. I mean, obviously the person that wins gets to put the I won Game of the Year, but the people that are nominated, that's a huge thing. See, I don't look at the game who wins is the winner. I look at all the games that get nominated, which is going to be 6 games. So somebody's going to get snubbed because there's way more than 6 games this year that could be Game of the Year. Have we seen any kind of have we seen gameplay yet? Let's see. Exclusive Act 2 details. Player 14 hours of Baldur's Gate 3 full game. 2 hours ago.
Just a few days ago, I was given the opportunity to play the full version of Baldur's Gate 3 for 2 days with Larian in Ghent, Belgium. And in this video series, I kind of want to talk about the things that I learned from playing that and talk about some changes that are coming to the game that you might not be aware of, even if you saw the panel from hell. In this first video, I almost exclusively want to talk a bit about Act 2. I'll probably add in a couple other details, but I know a lot of people are really curious.
I love how Extra Life here is talks nice and slow, where the other guy was like, he was like super fast.
Is how Act 2 of the game has played. People have been playing through Act 1 in early access over and over and over, and I know a lot of people have kind of stopped playing because they're waiting for more content, you know, and the full version of the game is just around the corner at this point. So in this first part, I want to talk a bit about Act 2. And Act 2 is something I don't think you're going to hear much about from other press or content creators, and that's simply because the days were divided between press and content creators. So on the press day, we all started at the beginning of the game and played for 5 or 6 hours, and I eventually hit Act 2 at the end of the first day. But on the second day, most of the press left, some of them stayed, and then the content creators came in and they started from the beginning of the game and continued playing probably just up to Act 2 or barely into Act 2 like I did on day 1. But I was able to continue my save from the first day in Act 2, so that second day I got to play exclusively in Act 2 and see a lot of things that were there that maybe some other people did not see. Before I get into that, however, I do want to mention that this will have some minor spoilers. I'm going to be talking a bit about locations that were alluded to in Act 1 that were discussed.
All right. So he's talking about spoilers. I'll give a warning. If you guys don't want to know anything about this game, he said he might do his small little spoilers for locations and whatnot. So if you don't like it, don't watch for a little bit. We're gonna watch this and see what he says about the game. Trying to give more information to you guys.
Discussed. talking about some of these locations and characters that are present in Act 2. Some of this you saw on the panel from Hell, some of it you haven't. We don't have gameplay footage for a lot of what I'm going to be talking about, so you won't see the gameplay on the screen. But if you don't want to hear anything about it, I would suggest skipping this so that you don't get spoiled at all. So first of all, I want to say that I got to Act 2 not by going through the Underdark like you can. Instead, I went via the Githyanki area and through the Mountain Pass. So Act 2 essentially picks up after that point.
It does look good.
Previously, you would go to this point in early access and it would say you can't go there. Well, now we've gone through the Githyanki. We're on the next part of the map. And you basically have two options. You can go towards the Shadowed Lands, which they were showcased a bit in the panel from Hell, which is kind of like the dark and gloomy lands, which I'll talk a little more about after this. Or you can go another direction and you can go to the Githyanki Kresh, which is where Lizelle wants to go because
I think it's weird. I don't know if this is how the game's going to be. It's weird that you can move the camera around from your character like that.
He thinks that they can help remove the tadpole from her head. So seeing as I had a lot of time, I decided to go to Githyanki Kresh first and sort of
18 permutations, I think, is overhyped playthrough. Just for Ned the gardener to give you roses instead of tulips into someone. What's the most changes are? Perhaps, Brain. Who knows? I mean, 173 hours of cutscenes, though. So I would assume there's some more based on the cutscenes that they said, the amount of hours of cutscenes in the game. I would hope it's different than just a tulip to a rose. But I get what you're saying.
Sort of explore that. We'd already seen the presentation of the Shadowlands at this point. So I had kind of seen a little bit of that area, and I wanted to see this area because this was completely new to me. And let me just say, before
well, it's on PC. You can see them literally playing PC on the bottom left-hand corner there, Water.
you even get there, there is a lot of exploration to be done that really showcases the three-dimensional nature of Baldur's Gate 3. And this is accomplished far more than Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, in my opinion. There was more in Divinity Original Sin 2, but the extent of it in Baldur's Gate 3 is incredible. And what I mean by that is obviously these games have puzzles that you have to solve. This is not something you should be surprised by if you've played any Larian games or if you've played early access, but there are puzzles and the use of vertical space is more incorporated into these puzzles. For instance, like in Divinity Original Sin 1 or 2,
No, that's not spread across different characters. That's 173 hours of side quests, of cutscenes.
you might need to find a switch to open a door, or read a book to get a clue for something, and then that opens a door and you go down some stairs and you find something. A lot of it had to do with like finding these things and figuring out what to do. In this particular space, you kind of knew what you needed to do, but you had to figure out how to get there because things were located in positions that you couldn't just walk up to them. Like they were either behind a locked door or they were high up vertically and you had to figure out how to get up there. Like, could you jump up there and climb up there? Could you fly up there?
No, it's 173 hours based on what they said from the developer. It's 173 hours of side quest cutscenes is what they said.
Could you move it down to you? There's a lot of that went into the,
So if you're going for like a 100% of stuff, just know there's 173 hours of cutscenes. Of cutscenes, not of like side quests or whatnot, just of cutscenes, 173 hours.
Creation of these puzzles, and they've really used that vertical space to make you think a lot more. I remember going through this puzzle going like, how the hell do I do this? Like, I've played tons of Divinity Original Sin 1, tons of Divinity Original Sin 2, lots of Baldur's Gate Early Access, and I still couldn't wrap my head around how much they use the vertical space. And this is something they've talked a bit about in their promotional materials, but I don't think players are fully going to understand until they get to different parts of the game where they have to think a little bit more three-dimensionally than they have previously or in any other game that I've ever played. So then, obviously, after that, I was able to get into the Githyanki Kresh, and there's obviously full of Githyanki in there, and you get to talk and interact with them. And
the
really
character models look good. The character models look good.
Githyanki culture and how they do things, and that was kind of a revelation to me, just seeing it all and practice. And, Lizelle is sort of this really interesting character,
I would think so, Quintar. I would think like Mass Effect type of stuff, right? Mass Effect 2 type of thing.
In terms of the companions that you can pick. But then you're suddenly surrounded by a lot of Lizelles, and it's really interesting to see that dynamic and how they interact with each other as well as they interact with you. And there are really cool things you can do there. I won't get into them at all, but I found it absolutely fascinating. It kind of reminded me of walking into like the Brotherhood of Steel for the first time in Fallout 1 or Fallout 2, and you're just like, whoa. That's kind of the same feeling that I got. I think players are really, really going to enjoy exploring this area and interacting with the very, very intriguing and interesting characters there. So after doing that, I explored a bit around the area before eventually going to the Shadowed Lands. And one thing I'll tell you, too, is the game is a lot more interconnected than you would believe from early access. There are actually like a lot of like hidden doors and backdoor tunnels that connect areas of Act 1 to Act 2 that you don't even know exist yet. And you're going to find these out as you progress the game further and further. So they're actually kind of like shortcuts, if you will, to get to very specific parts of Act 2 from Act 1 that you don't even know about that aren't in early access. So then as we made our way to the Shadowed Lands, this is a very creepy area of the game. It's probably not as creepy as the Underdark was, in my opinion, but it does have a very creepy feel to it. And one of the things about this area of the game, if you saw the panel from Hell, then you already know this, is there is like a debuff in this area that you need to protect yourself from or you'll die. So you have to have kind of like a light source or a way of protecting yourself.
I don't know, Brian, because we just read that the game's going to take anywhere between 70 and 100 hours for one character, just for the main campaign.
The game's plot is figuring out how to get that, because you're trying to make your way to this tower in this zone in order to figure out who's controlling these parasites. And, you know, part of the game is figuring out how to get to that tower and what method you're going to use to get there. Now, if you've watched the panel from Hell, then you'll have seen something they did that was really cool, is that Sven took one route to get there, and Adam took a separate route. Sven sort of did the traditional good route, where he allied with the Harpers and ambushed the bad guys, took their light, and then went to the tower. That was kind of generally what his plan was. While Adam sided with the bad guys, used them to help get him through, got ambushed by the good guys, killed the good guys, and then went to the tower. So there's, you know, two different things that can happen there. However, in my time playing, I got to the same location that they did during this presentation, and I did something completely different. Now, I don't want to spoil for you what that is, because I want you to find out for yourself what's possible, and I've already given you a lot of spoilers as is. But I just wanted to illustrate...
Well, I'm saying it could take. They're saying that it will take. I don't know, because I haven't played, right? None of us know, but the developer's saying it will take you 75 to 100 hours.
Straight to you and kind of, you know, press upon you that it's not just... There's like a good, neutral, and evil option in this game like you would have in something like KOTOR or you'd have in something like Dragon Age. There is good, evil, neutral, and all the spectrums in between in terms of the things that you can do. And I think that's really what sets Baldur's Gate 3 apart from some of the great games of the past, is that it's not just three-pronged option, it's more of a gamut of options. So besides this, I explored more of the Shadowed Lands, and let me tell you too, that something that I didn't mention earlier, that the combat in Act 2 really ramps up. It challenges you far more than Act 1, although there are some challenging moments in Act 1. But the combat for me in Baldur's Gate 3, after playing lots of hours of, you know, Act 1 over and over in the early access, probably several hundred hours at this point, was never the shining star of Baldur's Gate 3. I always figured Divinity Original Sin 2, although the storytelling wasn't as good as Baldur's Gate 3, had better combat. Playing Act 2 has changed my opinion of that. It's not that I don't think that Divinity Original Sin 2 has fantastic combat. It's just that Baldur's Gate 3 catches up significantly in Act 2. And I think there are really a couple reasons for that. One, the encounters are far more interesting from what I've seen so far.
I mean, this is not a fast-paced game, you know what I mean? You're picking your, yeah, you know what I mean? You're picking your attacks and thinking. It's D&D.
They have more interesting enemies, they have harder, more challenging enemies, and the loot rewards are even greater. And also, you know, once you get to level 5 with a character, a lot of things really open up to you. If you're a spellcaster, you get level...
I think people are already complaining it's too long, Akuta Papa.
3 spells. If you're most martial classes, you gain a second attack. And since that doesn't happen to you till usually the very end of Act 1 in early access as it is now, you don't get to play a lot with that. You get to play a very small amount of time as a level 5 character. But when you're playing through Act 2, you can play a lot of time as a level 5 character, and you get to level 6, which I did, and I almost got to level 7. So your character progression is, you know, starting to extend more and more. These things combined, you know, the more interesting dynamic combat plus the more things you can do in combat really brought the combat...
How many characters on the map right there up on top between your guys and the enemies?
Up a lot, and it's much more on par with Divinity in terms of creativity, the way tactical nature plays into combat. So I'm very, very happy about this because I was kind of, you know, worried that I would get bored of the combat eventually in Baldur's Gate 3 because it's just, you know, Divinity has such a fantastic combination of elemental aspects and things like that. And I just think that the Act 1 gives you kind of a poor impression in general of how Baldur's Gate 3's combat is.
Lurker, hey, a root canal could be too long. Great game cannot be too long. Yeah, I never understood people that complain, Lurker. They're like, yeah, too much story in this story game. It's like, what? What are we talking about? Yeah, there's too much gunfire in this gun shooting game.
That is going to be throughout the course of the game. And let me just tell you that if you're somebody who's like, man, I really wish Baldur's Gate 3's combat was a lot better, it is so much better from Act 2 onward, which is where you're going to be playing the vast majority of the game. You should relax a bit and you understand.
Too much chicken in my chicken salad. Too much beef in this hot dog.
That it's going to be really, really good. And there are other things too, which I will touch upon more in subsequent videos, but we'll mention here. For instance, multi-classing really allows you to mix it up with your characters and try new things.
See, there's a part of me that wants to play this game so bad, but I know it would just kill my channel. I know it would kill my channel. I can't put the time in on stream with this game. We could play it maybe a little bit. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I could play this game. When do I have time? It would take me literally 2 years to complete this game if I played it just on the weekends for like an hour. Do you know what I mean?
And the itemization of the game is extremely, extremely strong. I will talk more about the itemization in another video. I have written down very specific items that I have found to give you guys, exact examples in terms of the quality of items that you can find. But let me just tell you, some of them are build-changing items that you will build your characters around. And I think that's going to be music to the ears of a lot of players. And one other thing that I really want to mention about Act 2 that was really, really cool to see that
I mean, not that my channel's like immaculate, Sarge, but this would people would be like, what the hell?
I think a lot of players might be wondering about is your companion progression really starts to come into play. Like, it's not something that was badly done in Act 1. That's not what I'm saying. But Act 1 is kind of the setup for your characters. You're kind of finding out what kind of characters they are, how they are going to interact with you, what their personalities are like, and you kind of get a little bit of information about them, maybe a little more if you pass certain roles. But they're kind of a mystery still. Not completely, but a little bit. And when you get to Act 2 and you start progressing Act 2 and you go rest at camp and you start talking to them, a lot of times things just happen. Their plot lines advance whether you were trying to advance their plot lines or not, and you have to deal with it. It's not like, oh, if I leave this guy in camp, I'll never have to do anything with him, and I don't have to worry about some negative outcome. Their plot
like the story for this game, I want to play this game just because of the story.
Lines are going to advance as you press on with the game, and things are going to happen that you got to deal with. You got to make tough decisions about who you're going to help, what route you're going to take, and honestly, it was really, really kick-ass to see the way they did a lot of these things. My general impression after playing Act 2 is that the writing in Baldur's Gate 3 is some of the best writing I've seen in gaming. It's up there, and I haven't even seen half the game. So I think if you're someone who's a fan of really fantastic writing that was like, Act 1's writing's okay, but it's nothing to really sneeze at, wait until you get to Act 2.
What's happening here?
Like, it's really where it's the Empire
But what's happening with those pixels?
Strikes Back episode. It's where everything takes a dark turn. You know what I mean? It's not all light and cheery like a lot of Act 1 can be, with a lot of humor and different things that are happening. Not to say that Act 1 is all that way. But I will say the game takes a more serious tone starting in Act 2, gets a bit more interesting with some of these characters. And I think players that are looking for more of a serious game from Larian will really start to see that more in Act 2 than they did in Act 1. So that kind of wraps up my video talking a bit about Act 2, what I got to see, what I got to explore. I tried to keep it as spoiler-free as possible. There are some things you just, in order to be able to talk about it at all and give you some information at all, I had to have mild spoilers in there. I hope you got that warning and didn't ruin anything for you. Try to stay away from that. But I will just say that after playing Act 2, I am more confident than ever in this game. It's actually improved for me as a game. I think it's even better than I originally thought. I think players are drastically underestimating this game in every possible way. You could be the biggest fan of this game and you're still underestimating Baldur's Gate 3. I think it's going to be Game of the Year by a landslide. I don't even think it's close. I don't know if it'll win the Game of the Year award at the Game of the Year Awards because Baldur's Gate 3 is not as much of a mainstream game
Right.
as something like Breath of the Wild or Starfield. But for me, already, not even having played half the game, not even having played Starfield, not even having played some of these other games coming out later this year, it's Game of the Year. It just is. Everything that I've learned from my time with Larian over the last week, playing the game, has convinced me that this is Game of the Year. I'll be talking more a bit about that in subsequent videos and going through some of the things I guarantee you do not know about this game yet. So stay tuned for that, and let me know what you guys think from the comments so far. What do you think after hearing this stuff? What are you excited about? If you watched the panel from hell, what made you excited about that? Let me know in the comments below.
I don't know if you can, Sarge. I don't know if you can. Let me see something real fast.
Hello and welcome.
Okay. Here's the difference between Travis, who you're saying. I don't even know who this person is, right? Just like they don't know who I am. And that's the thing. Wolfheart FPS here has 142,000 subscribers. Okay. I don't know if he does live streams. And if he does live streams, yeah, he's averaging, let's see, 6,000 views, 18,000 views, 21,000 views, 36,000 views for his live streams. Okay. His videos, 369,000, 220,000, you know, he's got major videos. Right? He has an audience. He's built his channel, I would assume, okay? Yeah, since 2011. He's got a fan base, knows that what he does. Okay? When I look at his content, it looks like this is the type of games he plays. He also plays first-person shooters. He's building up this whole thing. He played Hogwarts, but he has this fan base. We are a variety channel. We talk about news and whatnot, and I have literally 0.1% of what he has as a player base. So me playing a game like this is literally death to my channel. Okay? Death, because of the type of game it is. If I go hard with this game, then, and this goes with any game. This goes with any game. Starfield might be a quick jump in, and then everyone's like, yeah, I'm not interested in this, right? Like right now we have 23 people. If I play a game like this, I'll have one person out of the 23 people watching me play this, right? You understand? Unless I'm making videos to give information about Baldur's Gate and constantly build that reputation up, it's not going to work for me. Hell, even last night, with games like BattleBit or when I play Battlefield, there's people that are just not interested. They come in to support, they give a like, and then they leave. That's just the way it is, right? But to invest into a story-based game where a lot of people, one, don't want to, because if they're going to play the game, they don't want to watch you play the game because they don't want to be ruined by the game, right? Because they want to play the game themselves. Well, if I'm going to play that game, then the player base that's interested in that game probably is not going to watch because they don't want to get spoiled. And worse yet, it would be Travis by himself, right? That's the difference. Well, Hilly, people's time schedules are different. People don't want to play certain games. Like, even if I play the most popular game, story content-wise, Jedi Survivor didn't do very good for me, right? I forced myself to play it because I love Star Wars, but not a lot of people came and watched it. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. Here, let's look at my let's see. Diablo did okay, right? Did okay. based on my channel, whatever, for stuff, right? But Star Wars for my playthrough? Let me see. What did it get? Yeah. Diablo did a little bit better than Star Wars. First video of Star Wars is the 252 views. That's it. Right. Right. On YouTube, you have to foster it, right? The reason I got so many views on Gotham was I was doing Gotham videos leading up to Gotham, and then I played Gotham. So if you look at my Gotham videos compared to my other videos, they've done well, much better. So much so that when I go back to, if I say something about Gotham, people like to go watch those content. The reason I'm not successful on YouTube is because I'm not consistent in what I do. Let me rephrase that. I'm consistent on what I do because I'm doing what I want to do, but it's not successful because of what I'm doing. What's funny is I don't see you playing the game requires too much time and you have the attention span of an ant. Me? Water? I have an attention span of an ant? Or are you talking about Travis? The gameplay was similar to Diablo. I'd be all over this. I don't like the turn-based games, but if I have a story, Baldur's Gate is amazing. I love the other ones. Yeah, I got to do... To be successful on YouTube, I have to make montage videos. I have to do consistent, attention span, keep people coming back. The people that come and watch me like the conversation back and forth type of stuff. I love games like Mass Effect. I love a lot of different games, but I love this for story. And Baldur's Gate story seems pretty, it's going to be pretty amazing. Let me look up real fast. Let's see. Baldur's Gate. Okay, let's see what this says. Baldur's Gate. Don't worry, you won't see 170 hours of Baldur's Gate 3 cinematics in one playthrough. So this is what Brain was bringing up. Let's see. Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is most cinematic dialogue and 3 times all 3 Lord of the Ring novels combined. It has 174 hours of cinematics, making it more than twice the length of every season of Game of Thrones combined. This, however, raised concerns over how much cinematic dialogue people would be watching while playing the game, whether it be interrupt the flow. I got a chance to talk to them, and they said that last week they raised this with me and said that they understand it. Players will not see anything like they in one playthrough. The overwhelming bulk of the number comes in the permutations of the game, which we just read. So he says, correct, said Swine. It won't, in other words, feel like you're watching Lord of the Rings film trilogy 3 times. No, he said, this is why instance over doing a playthrough the way I did, you get the idea of actually what it means. Referring to the section of the game he played in Cities of Baldur's Gate, which also consists of a third and final act of the game, which was also a druid world reacted to the unique ways. If you don't have Jahard in your party, forget all the Jahard scenes, he said. Those are not there. You'll also have something else, what's a permutation heavy means. It's very hard to understand that, he added. But when you see it, you feel like it's because you feel, and you also find the ways that you play through. Like a screenplay. It's really specifically for, but it takes a lot of bulk dialogue to be there to be able to do that. Baldur's Gate 3 is due out in, let me see what else they have. They don't continue on there. So let's see. Let's see, Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough. I don't know how. This is actually not bad if it's this way. Okay, Baldur's Gate 3, it says that the main story takes 23 hours. The main story plus side quests take 34 hours. Completionist gives you 70.5 hours. That's actually more appealing to me now. Yeah, that's what I said, Brandon. It is like what you said, right? That's more appealing to me now. So if I could do the main story in 23 hours, that's a week's worth of streams. I could do that. I could do that. And they were told nothing and just enjoy the game. It would have all discovered all the things out there out own by playing and learning. Yeah. But that actually feels much better. Because I don't think I need to do a completionist with this type of game. I just want to do the story with this type of game. I don't know if that's true, Travis. I don't know if that's true at all. Red Dead Redemption is not a ARPG. I mean, sorry, an RPG. And it has a fantastic story. Mass Effect 2 is not like this. It has one of the best stories in gaming. Yeah, but do you see the games that you're picking in comparison to? And Diablo's story is actually pretty good. The problem, Travis, when you speak, is that you speak in bias instead of actually looking at other things out there in a very fair-based way. I said there are outliers, yes, but the Final Fantasy beats most games, Red Dead included. Again, you're looking at it so in a biased way, which is fine because each their own. But to say statements, I can name more games that are not RPGs that have really great stories. I'm a classic watch part 1. If they really like it, they pick it up and play it on their own. If the game looks rough, won't buy it. Don't watch other parts. Either way, bad for content creator. Right. This would be something maybe, Hilly, what I would do is if I played off stream, let's say on the weekend, because I don't stream on the weekends, and I put in like 4 hours, then I can break it out and put it as episodes to see if people watch it, type of thing, instead of doing it live. Like there's so many games that you can name that are not what this game is and has really good story. Doesn't beat most games for a story. Red Dead Redemption beats Final Fantasy hands down. Paul says, do RPGs have better stories in gaming? I mean, that's what Travis is saying. He's saying that RPGs have the best stories over any other thing that's out there. I mean, there's tons of stuff. Oh, right. It's turn-based. Turn-based have better stories than anything else. And just off that alone, I mean, Spider-Man 1, Miles Morales, Last of Us 2, Uncharted, Tomb Raider, God of War, right? Like, there's good stories. Red Dead Redemption 1, Red Dead Redemption 2, Mass Effect 2. Are these outliers? Power Wash Simulator walks on the stage of epic story and time travel, saving the world from aliens. 10 out of 10 story. It's like a Charlie Chaplin film, Lurker. It tells a story with no dialogue. Unpacking. Another Charlie Chaplin type of silent film. Tells great stories without saying one word. Paul says RPGs sometimes let the player essentially carve its own path in a story, choose, but no other all stories is subjective as being good. Oh, and we all agree on that, Paul. We're the ones that are not saying that what Travis is saying that there's other stories out there that are not, what Baldur's Gate is and whatnot. Now, I think Baldur's Gate is going to be a fantastic story. This is one I'm interested in. Tiny comes in and says, Gas Station Simulator has the best story ever. Drops mic. Now Akuta Papa's talking crazy as well. Goat Simulator has a better story than Final Fantasy. Come on now. Yeah, I don't know if I would. I don't know. It is more manageable that Baldur's Gate can be finished in like 23 to 30 hours. Right? I don't need to complete that. Just going through the story to get the story. We could probably do that. Question is, do I get that before I get Starfield or wait and get it later? Brain says Leisure Suit Larry has a more compelling story than Final Fantasy. That's right, Lurker. The high school dinosaur extinction dating simulator. That's on my list for game of the year as well. That's that. Well, right. I think there's more people interested in a Bethesda game, Water, than there is in a Baldur's Gate game. Right? As peak interest anyway. And again, Starfield, a lot of people won't watch because they don't want to be ruined for the story as well. I don't know. Leisure Shoot Larry is a pretty good story. Is there a story in Starfield? Yeah. Yeah. That's what Bethesda's known for, is their stories. Power Wash Simulator greater than Starfield. I mean, Power Wash Simulator would be good if they did a crossover and you spray wash the space stations in your ship from Starfield. That'd be great cross promotion. Crossover with Starfield. Wash. I mean, there are other contents there. Who knows? Maybe I just predicted something. Maybe I just came to fruition and said that Starfield's going to have a crossover promotion with Power Wash Simulator. Never know. Who knows? Can you imagine if that happens? Can you imagine? Name a great story-driven game with no RPG elements. Red Dead Redemption. you go. I named the one. Starfield will fall into its niche like Star Citizen. Not great, but not horrible. That's another one, Lurker. Yeah, every Telltale game. Very true. Red Dead is not a RPG. It's not an RPG. It's an action-adventure game. It's not an RPG, though. It's an action-adventure game. It's not considered an RPG. It doesn't matter if it has RPG elements. It's an action-adventure game. Like Uncharted, Lara Croft, in Tomb Raider series. Those are also not RPGs. Uncharted is not an RPG. Assassin's Creed. The very first Assassin's Creed is not an RPG. The first AC was the worst one, but go on. You said name one. I've named 5. And because you don't agree, you're like, wow, yeah, go on. Go on. So far, I've named 2. I've named 5. Uncharted, Tomb Raider, Red Dead Redemption. Right? There's 3, which is more than 1. Let's count. Name 1. I named 3. You've moved the goalpost from what you said originally for the RPG element, right? Or RPG. Now you're saying RPG elements. That's like saying, name an RPG where you don't pick dialogue. Give me the greatest game ever, an RPG where you don't pick dialogue. Yeah, and like 40 messages ago, you were comparing RPG games. RPG was the genre of a game. And you picked up the goalpost and you moved it, and you're like, well, no, it's got to be RPG elements. Let me move the goalpost so I can make my point. There are no only RPG games with the best stories. No RPG games. Oh, he's naming games that are not RPGs. RPG elements. I said elements. I meant elements. Elements is it. If it has elements, it can't be included in this conversation. I never said Final Fantasy was garbage. I gave you examples of games that were not RPGs. Okay. Like my 12-year-old daughter who hates to be wrong, so she keeps changing answers to everything. Yeah, I was like that, Water, when I was a kid. Let's see. Let me scroll up. Let's see. RPGs have to die. Higher attention span. Water. Let's see. Water is Water. What was the last real RPG you played? Because Diablo 4 isn't an RPG. Not everyone likes zipping out through the places and looks at Suicide Squad, looks for Fortnite. Plus story greater than gameplay. Not hearing a game. So what was the real RPG you played? Water games are now story telling medium. Water, do I read books because I'm not literally like other people? Yes. It's a turn-based game, constantly better stories than most other types of games. So no matter what you wrote after that, right? It says turn-based games consistently have better story than most other types of games. I said most are their outliers, yes, but Final Fantasy beats most games, Red Dead included. Look at the plot, and yes, every person is based on what good plot point not. Let's see what else he wrote here. Actually, you could even argue that Red Dead has RPG elements. That's where you first said RPG elements. I named a game, and then you changed the goalposts. Now, I just went back in chat and wrote or read exactly what you said. And you were originally talking about RPG. Then you threw in RPG elements, and now you're putting in that, and I quote, name a great story-driven game that doesn't have RPG elements. After I named an actual game that wasn't an RPG. You said name one. I named one. Then you put in the element. Then you said name another one. And then I named another one without RPG element. All I'm saying is you move the goalpost, man. Move the goalpost. Here, let me name another games for you. Let's see. I'll have to look up some because I can't think of it off the top of my head. Greatest video game stories. Let's see what we got here. That are not RPGs. But they have, I guess, RPG elements. Let's see. We have Yazuka. We have Dead Space. We have Ghost of Tsushima. We have Braid, Firewatch, Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask, Final Fantasy IX, Spec Ops: The Line, Metal Gear Solid 3, Final Fantasy 12, Hades, Final Fantasy 6, Mass Effect 2, Persona 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, Undertale, Nier Automata, Horizon Zero Dawn, What Remains of Edith Finch, Grim Fandango, BioShock, Fallout New Vegas, Red Dead Redemption 1, Shadow of the Colossus, The Witcher 3, God of War 2018, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Portal 2, Disco Asylum, Silent Hill 2, Chrono Trigger, and Last of Us Part 1. Out of that list, there's got to be at least one, right? Well, here's the thing. It's not an RPG. It's an action RPG. And your argument earlier is that action RPGs are not as good as RPGs. Lots of action RPGs. No. No, Witcher is an action RPG. Is an action role-playing game. There's a difference. There's a difference. It's an action RPG. What's going on, Stubby? We're all just arguing with Travis about RPGs compared to other games that have good stories, but then he threw in the RPG elements. As a series, The Witcher has a superb entry of RPG genre, which makes fans consider the third entry to be one of the greatest open-world titles of his generation, and not all time. I mean, here, I'll type it in for you. I mean, this is their words, not mine. The Witcher action role-playing game from a fantasy series developed by CD Projekt Red and published by CD Projekt is based on the books of the series named by the publisher. Okay. It says it. The Witcher action role-playing. Action role-playing. Action role-playing. Action role-playing. Action role-playing. It's an... You know there's difference between RPG, action RPG, MMO, action-based shooters, puzzle games. You understand that, right? You understand that, right? The specific difference between action adventure game and RPG is notable persistence of emphasis on player agency. A typical real-time RPG that has player agency removed from it becomes an action adventure game, like Oblivion, Fallout 3, and 4, and Skyrim, and Witcher 3, and Assassin's Creed games. You understand that an action adventure game is different than an RPG game. Turn-based games are different than real-time strategy games, and so on and so forth. Yes, it's a sub-thing, but it's a completely different thing. You literally said that RPGs are better games than any other thing. Well, that's a specific genre. Then there's a subset. There's a difference between hack and slashing, moving the character around, and then clicking a button and having the thing move itself. No, it's a different genre. Hence why they made a different category. Yes, there's elements in there, but that is not what your original conversation was about. You added the element part after I named multiple games that had better stories. That is not the main force, right? Assassin's Creed, what was it? Origins? I didn't play it. When they added RPG elements into the game, and even Tomb Raider at the end of the fact that they added RPG elements in the game, you're leveling up your bow system or whatever. The game is not an RPG. It's an action RPG. Emphasis on action. I'm moving the character. I go up and punch somebody. I'm controlling the character. I'm not making the character. It's not a customized character. It's a separate game. It's a separate thing. I didn't make Morrison or John Marston from Red Dead Redemption. I didn't make Arthur Morgan. I didn't make God of War. I didn't make, right? There are elements in there, yes, but that's not what you originally said. You changed the element and you put the element in there. AC Brotherhood and AC Black Flag are considered amazing stories before Origins came out. Yeah, and they didn't add the RPG to those games until after the fact. But then Travis will come back and say, well, those stories were sucky. But the argument was better stories in RPGs than the other game. Ridiculous, Travis. Ridiculous. I said games with RPG that you make a character and it has to have a minimum 10 faces to create stuff. I'm trying to be right here. Let me add something else that I could... Is Madden considered an RPG? Is Madden considered an RPG? Is Major League Baseball the show? Is that an RPG? Right, you can upgrade a player. Now, technically there's no story, but I make my own story because as an RPG playing MLB The Show, I made Jack Burton. And Jack Burton was the greatest ex-movie star to join the MLB and went through the minor leagues and got to the professional game, made it through with the Mets to the World Series. And the World Series, we fell short in Game 7, where they had a walk-off strikeout at the bottom of the ninth in the 7th inning. Pretty damn good story. Dota 2 can be upgraded all the heroes. Definitely not an RPG. Coming to the game, playing RPG will rage on you. Through literal acting and through process of structured decision-making regarding character development. FTC going ham about COD and Switch not mattering killed them. Oh, you know what? I haven't even looked. It's probably all over Twitter now because I actually don't care if they... Official. Microsoft wins the case against FTC and now required Activision Blizzard. Do you think the CMA will block, or is it done deal? Is that true now? Okay, we have a decision. FTC lost. Microsoft, Activision Blizzard can close. After considering the parties, voluminous pre- and post-hearing writing submissions and having held 5-day hearing, the court denies the motion for preliminary injunction the FTC has not shown. I mean, I said the same thing. I'm not an expert. Just based on what they said, it didn't pan out, right? They didn't prove to me that they had enough evidence to go into it, right? So now it's going to go exactly what I said months ago, where if the CMA does block, then the UK basically doesn't get the games on Game Pass or whatever. They'll make a separate company, like Michael Packner said months ago, that they'll just work around the CMA over there. Breaking news, Microsoft won its case against the FTC to buy Activision. I'm trying to see if there's any kind of... let's see. Microsoft wins FTC. Fight to buy Activision Blizzard, FTC, and Microsoft is over, and the judge has decided to deny the FTC preliminary injunction requests. California judge allowing Microsoft to close its acquisition of Activision Blizzard after 5 days of grueling testimony. Microsoft is still facing an ongoing antitrust case by the Federal Trade Commission, but Judge Jacqueline Scott Corral has listed the arguments from both the FTC and Microsoft that decided to deny the regulatory request for preliminary injunction. In a ruling submitted today, Microsoft acquisition of Activision has been described as the largest in tech history. It deserves scrutiny. The scrutiny has paid off. Microsoft has committed in writing in public and the court to keep Call of Duty PlayStation for 10 years on party with Xbox. But now that it doesn't really matter because PlayStation is not going to sign it, right? It made an argument with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to Switch. It's also entered several agreements, for the first time by bringing Activision content to several cloud gaming services. The court responsibility in the case of is narrow and has decided that notwithstanding these current circumstances emerge should be halted, perhaps even terminated, depending on resolution of the FTC. For the reason explained, the court finds the FTC has not shown a likelihood and will prevail on its claim this particular vertical merger. The specific industry may substantially lessen competition, to the contrary, and record evidence points to more consumers' access to Call of Duty and other Activision content. The motion for preliminary injunction is therefore denied. Judge Corral has also clearly cited Microsoft, as also comments to keep a Call of Duty on PlayStation even extended to the game of Nintendo Switch, despite the FTC challenging Microsoft's cloud agreements. Judge Corral took them into consideration in her decision, and the court ruling even agrees with Microsoft in theory about the Nintendo Switch being part of the console market, but also accepts the FTC can reasonably claim it's not. Judge Corral also agreed that the FTC that the console market does not include PCs. In a statement following Judge Corral's decision, Microsoft President Brad Smith said that the company was grateful to the Court of San Francisco for a quick and a thorough decision, and hope other jurisdictions will continue working towards a timely resolution. Xbox lead Phil Spencer, key witness in the trial, also tweeted reactions. We're grateful for the court for swiftly deciding in our favor, and the evidence showed that Activision Blizzard deal is good for industry, and FTC claims about console switching. Multi-game subscription services and cloud don't reflect on realities of gaming market, said Spencer. Activision Blizzard has also reacted to the decision on merger will also benefit consumers and workers. Bobby Kotick, he gets paid. Activision Blizzard CEO said the statement will enable competition rather than allowing entrenched market leaders to continue to dominate our rapidly growing industry. In a statement, FTC spokesperson Douglas Farrar said that the FTC is still playing its next move, and we are disappointed in the outcome given the clear threat to merge poses to open competition in cloud gaming subscription services and console. In the coming days, we'll be announcing our next step to continue our fight, preserve competition, and protect consumers, said Farrar. The judge's ruling allows Microsoft to close an Activision deal ahead of the July 18th deadline, but only if the company is willing to close around the UK or the Competition of the Markets Authority, CMA, is willing to negotiate from a form of remedy. The UK regulator moved to block Microsoft proposed acquisition in April, and Microsoft is currently appealing the decision with the hearing set to start on July 28th. They'll just go around. They'll just go around like they said. Reported last month that Microsoft explores options to close the deal despite the UK block, which is part spoke to the FTC enough to request an injunction in the first place. The CMA also filed a try to delay Microsoft appeal to Activision Blizzard acquisition decision, which requests right in the middle of the FTC Microsoft hearing, and the Competition Appeal Tribune shut that request down, as it also pushed the appeal press on July to October, contrary to justice and fairness. Minus after the Judge Coral decision, both the CMA and Microsoft have agreed to pause their legal battle in the UK to negotiate how the Activision Blizzard deal could modify to address the CMA's cloud gaming concern. The CAT will need to approve this pause, but it increasingly looks like the parties were also willing to secure a remedy in the UK. European regulators gave the deal to go ahead in May, so Microsoft could now technically close without the UK, without the injunction in the US preventing it. And the complicated scenarios, though, it's clear that Microsoft and the CMA are both hoping to avoid that. The FTC will now have a chance to appeal Judge Coral's decision ahead of the 11:59 p.m. on July 14th, but the regulatory didn't appeal the court's decision permitting Meta to require within, and they abandoned this case against Microsoft Activision instead. The court, in order to stand's second major loss of FTC and the head of the regulators, Khan, has been chasing big tech companies ever since she was confirmed as the head of the agency in 2021. So there you go. That's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to basically go through with the deal, and then the CMA will now be blocked, right? They'll block Microsoft, and Microsoft will just not put the stuff in that area until they figure it out. Meanwhile, it'll move ahead. So let's read what you guys have to say. FTC is going to ham about COD and Switch and Mattering and kill them. By definition, almost all games are RPGs. They are going to continue to drag the hell out of this. No, it's pretty much done. It's pretty much done. Man, I hope Activision will help Xbox need the competition that Nintendo, because nobody beats Nintendo. Judge didn't sound happy about them wanting to wait a few weeks before closing date and filed for the injunction. Honestly, I hope COD falls out, and I'm super happy the decision to make a woke decision. Hope they show that there's sales, other games it could also do so much more popular with the COD. No COD. Just give me the games, man. DC, what platform? I just want good games. At last, the business first, money talks, BS walks. They're still in the appeal stage with the CMA, so they're likely close and get that blocked, turned over. Yeah, but they can go ahead without it, though. Microsoft will close the deal, even if the UK does block. Right, they'll just move ahead. Interesting information about the xCloud and how people use it to play a single game, never touch it again. Where's that? Did you put that in... Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow, Paul. Considering that all the branches of the government are under scrutiny by the Supreme Court, I don't think the FTC had much of power anymore. It's overbearing, like the AFT, or ATF, Supreme Court by Mad. It says Game Pass, baby. I just assume that's what you said when you put Game Pass. I might need a VPN. Lucky the Northern Ireland, I can just choose Ireland. Let's see. I don't think the FTC is equipped to understand cloud gaming and expansions of currently players in the industry. Yeah, they just didn't make the cases. What they were going for, they didn't make a case. And I learned this the hard way when I was I had a buddy in school, one of my best friends, got addicted to drugs. And I knew who the drug dealer was. And there was a later time, and it ruined my friendship with my friend, right? And drugs. And then later in life, it was like 4 years later, I was picked for jury duty. And the guy that was on the stand, right, being prosecuted or being convicted, was the guy who sold drugs to my friend and to other people in our school and whatnot. And we had evidence. I knew he was a drug dealer, okay, but I couldn't make my decision based on what happened in the past. I had to make it based on what the evidence was in front of me, even though I hated it, right? And everybody that was on the jury, it had to be unanimous. And I was taught the hard way that during the case, and I would say what I knew and stuff, and the jurors were like, that doesn't have any pertinence of what's happening. All the evidence that we have is what was thrown in front of us for this particular case, not what was happening before. We didn't have the evidence of what happened before. We only had the evidence of what we had here, and we had to let him go. And that is the system. Based on that, they didn't give enough information to make the judge say, or the jury say, yeah, you know what I mean? That's it. Just the way it is. That dude in BattleBit had 3 hours in game, 154 kills with 13 deaths. I'm almost done with the first-person shooter in general. Well, there are people that when they're up higher level, Dabstick, that they're not cheating. Perhaps. I mean, they do bans in that game quite often. But the higher level you go up, the more advantages you get with the gear that you have on, and also the scope and whatnot. So everyone will play 400 plus a month to play 8K 10-game games on streaming platforms. Microsoft will close the deal 10 seconds after they can, and the CMA will be looking it from the outside. Yeah, Lurker, they're just going to move on without him. Yep, innocent until proven guilty. Evidence, not previous behavior. Exactly. 154 kills. He was cheating. I don't know. I watched the guy earlier on stream, or on YouTube, and he went through the whole thing, and he had like 100 kills. He wasn't cheating. So I firmly believe that people should have to participate in jury duty more often than the younger. It's a good logical decision based on evidence, not personal feelings. Right. I was like 20. I think I was 20 or 21 when I had jury duty, and that happened. Three hours of playtime. I mean, if Shroud went in there and played Dabstick, it doesn't matter what his playtime was. If a person's good at a game, they're good at a game. One, you don't know how young or old that person was. You don't know their background in that game, or just FPSs in general. I mean, I'm not trying to defend the person that had 154 kills. I'm just saying there are people out there that can do that. That's fact. Doesn't mean they're always cheating. Somebody says 60 to 100 kills in a certain game mode is like norm for the top of that leaderboard. Yeah, those people are good. Last night, when I rebooted my system and went back on to see if I had problems, I don't want to brag, but I went 19-4. 19-4. Watch out, leaderboards. I'm coming for you. I would hate to think that my freedom could be decided by 12 morons surfing Twitter. Right, Lurker. The way there was no social media, when I was in jury duty. I don't know how you do it now. You got to take their phones away from them, especially for high-profile cases. You know that their friends or family or YouTube or Twitter or Instagram is giving some sort of, you know what I mean? They have to put their phones in a case and that's it. Stubby, did you know last night after I got off, I just realized that you could dial in your scope? 30-minute games. Dude had 3 hours of playtime with 154 kills and 13 deaths. I'm sorry, that's 100%. I'll disagree with you, Dabstick. I will 100% disagree. Doesn't matter what the playtime is in the game. It's not like this is his first game ever. There's Call of Duty, there's Battlefield, there's Squad, there's Hell Let Loose, there's Defiant, there's literally hundreds of first-person shooter games that you use a keyboard and mouse on, right? And just because the guy had 3 hours on that game doesn't mean he's cheating. Could he cheat? Potentially. Does it mean 100% he is cheating? No. Because there are people that are that good. Yeah, but it's bound to page up and page down. Yeah, I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it to my scroll wheel. My mind won't agree with that. Okay. I'm just letting you know there are people that good. I used to film for Major League Gaming. Okay? And I saw some crazy people play like Halo and Call of Duty and all these other first-person shooter games that they back in the day. And there's people that are just off the wall crazy. They're doing massive bans in BattleBit. Massive bans. Like the other night when I was playing, you would just see a wall of small fine print text just up the right side. Just they banned. There had to be at least 1,000 people that they banned. Like no joke. Here, this is BattleBit Remastered Bandwave claims hundreds of players mid-match, leaving others confused and a bit impressed. Right? This is happening. Mid-game. Mid-game. Okay? Mid-match Bandwave could be pretty confusing to speculate. Or to look at, right? BattleBit Remastered just unleashed a new Bandwave earlier this week, seeing hundreds of accounts wiped out of mid-match. A low-poly first-person shooter new get hotness Steam right now, partially because it's a damn good game, but also because it hosts massive 254 strong player matches. The exact what's happening earlier this week on July 5th, right as players were in the middle of a game, developer Sergeant Okidoki came down on cheaters with the ban hammer, immediately taking hundreds of accounts out of matches BattleBit Remastered for cheating. Look at this. Look at the how small the list is, right? I saw lists, right? I saw lists. It was just going, it went on for a good 10, 15 seconds on the thing. 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 14, 16, 20, 24, 26, 20, 30, 32, 34, 36, 30. 40, 42, 44, 46. There's like 50 names on the page. When I tell you page after page after page was happening, I was just like, holy Christ, what's happening? A purge is definitely an accurate depict of what's going on. Sergeant Okidoki pledged more anti-cheat tools earlier this week after BattleBit Remastered suffered multiple DDoS attacks on the server. Apparently, those anti-cheat efforts include banning players from cheating. Yeah, see? This guy, Bandwave. This has been going on for like 10 minutes. Not hundreds of people, thousands of people have been banned. Okay, cheating isn't the only players have been banned for, though. As proved by a player below, BattleBit Remastered players can be banned for spamming messages in the game chat, which means Sergeant Okidoki is looking outside of usual perimeters for cheating in the new ban wave. When it happens, it says the user reported for spamming was banned. Thank you for reporting and keeping the servers clean. Honestly, a lot of players quite impressed with the BattleBit Remastered devs having been so quick to bring down the ban hammer on players so soon after launch. Considering the hit FPS just launched in the middle of June, it's pretty quick turnaround for Sergeant Okidoki to unleash ban waves for cheaters and annoying players alike. Okay. Do you know why he's banning people and why Call of Duty doesn't? Do you know why he bans people and why Call of Duty doesn't? Because Call of Duty has a season pass, battle pass, extra season passes to come back with cosmetics and selling you, right? Because they want your money. They don't care if you're cheating or not. That's why they don't do it. You know why this guy's banning stuff? Because it ruins the fucking game. It ruins the game. As you can see, Dabstick's pissed off because he thinks a guy who potentially could be cheating or could be legit He's pissed off because he thinks he's cheating. It ruins the game for people. Hey, the reason they don't ban people in the AAA games is because those are potential customers that can pay extra money. Where BattleBit Remastered right now, because they're independent developers, you paid $15 for that game, and that's it. They're not making other money outside of the $15. You pay $15 and you can enjoy it for 5 seconds, or you can buy it for 5,000 hours. That's the reason. Right? We read an article last week. Call of Duty is putting hallucinogens in the game for people that are cheating to keep them busy while the rest of the people are playing the game. So they know they're cheating, but they're not getting rid of the cheaters. They're going along with the cheaters because they know that they're cheating, and I know that they're cheating, but we're going to let the cheaters stay in the game because potentially they can spend more money. Meanwhile, Sergeant Okie Dokie over here is like, F you, get out of my game. Right? That's it. So, all right. We had some good conversations this morning and some bad ones. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're probably going to play more BattleBit Remasters because I'm addicted. I'm addicted. Fun game. Now that I know that you can fine tune your scope, we might go back in and do some more scoping because I'm so close to unlocking that mid range other sight that I want to get. I gotta get 200 kills, I think, to do it. So we're addicted to that, and that's what we're gonna be doing tonight. 8 p.m. Eastern. I do appreciate everyone coming out this morning. We talked about what the hell did we talk about? We talked about Baldur's Gate 3. We talked about Diablo 4 season 1. And then we also talked about some other random stuff as we did. We talked about BattleBit Remasters. We talked about RPGs and Travis moving the goalposts. I do love the conversations. Appreciate it very much. Make sure you hit that like button down below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you're not a member right now, check down below because we have a backlog of people that could grab a membership because YouTube Lurker donated 50 memberships last night on stream. So I don't know how long that is available. So make sure you guys take it if you can. If not, I do appreciate it very much, and I'll see you guys tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern for more gameplay. Thanks for coming by. I'll see you guys later. Peace.